is a very difficult thing to manage to get in a January transfer window. But I feel like Tottenham need something to inspire the fans. I think they need at least a definition of a superstar, something to get behind, something to get the fans on the edge of their seat. Because at the moment, like a moment ago, and I know that it would have, I think at least it would have made you cringe, Darren Ambrose tried to convince me that Xavi Simons was a superstar.
Oh no, I don't know if you heard. I said he's as close to a superstar that we have.
Listen, where he's come from, the teams that he's been in and around, the fact he's been in the Barcelona Academy, etc., there's a superstar in the making. You're right in terms of he is, but again, you mentioned Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale wasn't a superstar when he came to us 38 games until he actually won a game. You know, even Berbatov, Modric, Son, you know, all of these big players that we have, they won. I always say this is always my little sort of pub quiz question is, when did Spurs last buy a superstar? It was 1994, when we bought Jurgen Klinsmann, when he was a superstar. You know, you could argue that Navarre may be, but he was at the tail end of his sort of Real Madrid career and he wasn't really putting up trees there. So it is hard to go and get that superstar now. You mentioned David Ginola, right? David Ginola. He won Player of the Year at Spurs. This is how good he was when we finished 11th. Imagine winning the PFA Player of the Year.
Yeah, well, Man United won a treble, by the way. Yeah. Man United won a treble. David Ginola finishing 11th gets a Player of the Year.
So this is why I go back again to the summer and Ginola should have come to Spurs, Jack Grealish.
I agree.
That is such a
obvious Tottenham player. I couldn't agree more.
And you know what, Roy, you'd hate it, wouldn't you? Him and Madders, they'd be throwing the darts, there'd be the darts to run together. Yeah. That bromance there would make you sick.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I think you're on something. I think Jack Grealish is the kind of player that Tottenham need, because Tottenham fans, the identity is that, isn't it? Entertaining maverick footballers. You know, like 1970s throwback maverick footballers. And you're looking at this Tottenham team now, and they're all right and they're functional. But if I were to say what Tottenham need this transfer window, and it's almost the impossible thing to get, but it's that, isn't it? It's go and find that gem.
Or are you brave enough to go, at the moment you've got Mikey Moore, who's currently at Rangers, and he's doing well there. You look into the youth, right? Lucas Barnett-Williams, right? This kid that everyone's talking about. Every time I watch him play for the younger team, right, he's scoring goals. He scored 5 the other week in the Champions League. Luca Williams Barnett, sorry. What a player! The prospect there. Are you brave enough to go and get someone like him and try and bed him into the team? Arsenal are doing it at Max Down. Right? You know, there are clubs out there that are putting there going, you know what, you got a bit. And I think
fans will be on board.
The fans 100% would be on board. That is one thing with Spurs fans. Like either you're one of our own or you're a maverick, as Rory said. And at the moment, there isn't anything of that to grasp in our team. So where is the support going to? And again, as I always mentioned, this is the first time in over 10 years now this is the Spurs team without Kane or Son. With our superstars, and this is the first time we're seeing it. So it is a very big transitional year. It's a strange year for the Premier League. But I said, when I'm looking at the numbers and like how you can be in our position when you feel like we're in the worst season ever, we're 4 points off top 4. Yeah. And if I remember rightly, the last time we got into that position with Conte, we were 4 points off of top 4, like with a few games to go, and we beat Arsenal on the Wednesday, and we won on the weekend. We went into the top 4. So it's like it's so tight right now. But I'm with Rory. The fans need something in that January transfer, whether it's a wonder loan move from someone who's sort of on the bench somewhere or something. It just needs, I think that's what Thomas Frank needs to reignite his sort of energy with the fan base, because I think we need to sort of start again with him. And I'm not done with him yet, because like, I don't know about you guys, you're looking into the sort of market of managers. Who's out there for Spurs? We've tried every angle. We have to stick with someone at some point.
There's no one. We've got to stick with him. But what I need is your microphone, by the way. Your acoustics are sounding tremendous. I'm not going to lie.
That's why he's nominated for a Grammy and you're not.
Listen, you get the mic, you'll never have the voice.
Majestic, thank you so much for finding the time. Always enjoyed it.
Thank you for getting back to the show, Rory.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. I'm doing my best. I'm a mere custodian. You are the governor. Coming up next, we'll be looking ahead to the biggest game of the week as Arsenal take on Aston Villa live on talkSPORT. This is the final word on talkSPORT.
Join Midnight Casino and discover a whole new world! With hot slots, jackpots, live casino roulette, and blackjack at the ready. Come and play your way. Get 100 free spins when you spend £20 on eligible games. Search Midnight Casino or download the Midnight app today. Midnight. Casino done better. You decide. New customers only. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Service fee on those top Flex owners for a fixed price of £263 plus 20% VAT at a time that suits you. Enjoy peace of mind with predictable costs and the knowledge that your van is in the hands of Mercedes-Benz trained technicians using only genuine parts. Visit our website or contact your local Mercedes-Benz dealer to check if your van is eligible. T's and C's apply. Only valid for Spring 0906, any production 2018. Excludes petrol and V60 selections. Covers labour and parts only carried out by the 31st of December.
Play Final One Standing by William Hill. It's free to play, with a new league kicking off every Premier League match week. Enter and make your first pick before the start of the first round, and pick a new team before each following round. You only pick each team once, and if you're the final one standing, then the jackpot is yours. Final One Standing by William Hill. Football's ultimate elimination game. 18 plus runs EPLC for one active league at a time unless prize on £100,000 or more. Minimum prize £1,000. Prizes vary and apply to all users. Price split according to the same. Play within 48 hours online for T's and C's at williamhill.com. Play responsibly.
Some brands sponsor athletes for the glory, but not Quaker. We're real food. So we sponsor Team GB for the real stuff, the ugly stuff. The 5 AM alarms, the blisters, bruises, gobble marks, and mountains of sweaty laundry. Because we know that getting to greatness takes a delicious helping of ugliness. Well, our porridge is ugly, but the state of it. Quaker, deliciously real, deliciously ugly sponsor of Team GB.
Lovely Christmas, wasn't it? You did well. I know the trainers your nan got you weren't exactly the ones you asked for.
They were great. A big hit on eBay. Sold before we'd even had lunch.
Oh,
That gorgeous drop that was too small sold in seconds too.
right.
And these headphones I already had literally just sold.
Do you think you could list the handbag your dad got me?
Before you even finish that cup of tea.
When it's this easy to sell for free, you can't help but say when it's eBay. Things people love. T's and C's apply. Excludes vehicles.
Get a free bet when you bet £5 every week of the Premier League season and a bid boost every day. That's Satisfaction from Ladbrokes. And for extra satisfaction, here's the T's and C's Garage Style.
Every block scores a number to 24 game. Opted weekly. Selected Premier League markets. Match 1 free bet per week. Value vary. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. Daily odds boosts. T&Cs on Ladbrokes.com. Gambling.org. On 1089 and 1053, medium wave, on your mobile and on your smart speaker. Home of the festive 50. 50 games of football this December. talkSPORT. talkSPORT sponsors up their new trusted trader. Find top-notch tradespeople in your area. All be past the trusted trader 15-point assessment. talkSPORT.
I'm Steve Forbes. Good evening. The first senior goal for Archie Gray helped Spurs avoid a third top-flight defeat on the bounce. They beat Palace 1-0 at Selhurst Park. He's told us what it meant to him.
You know, the win's obviously the most important thing, but you know, the feeling of scoring a goal, I thought I had one against Leicester, which, you know, obviously got ruled against me, but it's the best feeling in the game. So you've worked for since a child, especially in the Premier League. It's a proud moment.
While Dominic Calvert-Lewin's purple patch continued at the Stadium of Light as Leeds grabbed a 1-0 draw against Sunderland, Daniel Farke insists the games won't get any easier with Liverpool up next.
To this situation because busy period and so key players like Daniel James, Sean Longstaff are out. I fear that Joe Roden will also probably miss these games, and plus even the upcoming games doesn't look too good after the game.
We understand West Ham will consider changing manager for the third time this season if their form does not improve quickly. The Hammers are rooted in the bottom three, and Nuno's won only 2 of his 13 games since replacing Graham Potter in September. Meanwhile, Darren Moore's been sacked by Port Vale, who are 10 points from safety in League One. In tennis, Nick Kyrgios beat women's world #1 Arina Sabalenka in straight sets in the dubbed Battle of the Sexes exhibition match in Dubai. Former ECB chief exec Hugh Morris died at the age of 62. In his playing career, he was an opening batsman who had 2 spells at Glamorgan and went on to make 3 appearances for England. And Rob Cross will meet title holder Luke Littler in the last 16 of the World Darts Championship after thrashing Damon Hector. Both Luke Comfort and Michael Van Cohen are in action during the evening session at Ali Pali. It's live over on talkSPORT 2 and on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
Donald Trump's hosting his Ukrainian counterpart in Florida for talks on a peace plan to end the war with Russia. And French President Emmanuel Macron has called Brigitte Bardot a legend of the century. The film star and 1960s sex symbol has died aged 91.
talkSPORT weather with
QuickFit. With a huge range of premium brands available, we've got what you need to drive away happy every time. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Dry and settled overnight, but cloudy for most. A few breaks to Northern Ireland and Southern.
On the talkSPORT app and on your smart TV.
The final word phone in. Treacherous team play. Apocalyptic argument. The wrath of a football nation.
Ring us up and have a go!
The nation's first stop football phone in.
Boot room ladies on the final word phone in on talkSPORT.
Welcome to the final word with me, Rory Jennings, alongside former Crystal Palace and Newcastle player Darren Ambrose. Right now, we're the only place on national radio taking your calls, so keep them coming in. 03717 223344. That is the phone number to call. You can be live on the radio imminently. 03717 223344. Soon, we're going to look ahead to a huge game on Tuesday night as Arsenal host Aston Villa in a title clash. And there could be another big managerial change at the London Stadium. But now it's time for the best quiz on the radio. It's called the Mystery Football Song Quiz. It's clever, that. Who came up with that? That's very, very impressive. Right, it's very simple to play. All you need to do is tell us which famous footballer is linked to these three songs. Remember, it can be the club that he's played for, a nickname, or even a famous number. So DJ Marco, let's drop the song montage.
She's a perfect 10, but she wears a 12. Baby, keep a little 2 for me.
Let's have a think. We've got the perfect 10, the beautiful sound. We've got Barcelona, Freddie Mercury. We've got a classic, World in Motion, New Order, Keith Andrews and John Barnes.
Something's going on there as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
10. Amazing. We guessed this, or the listeners guessed this?
I mean, we can have a go. We can have a go, alright? Look, so you're looking for a number 10, perfect 10, number 10 who played for Barcelona. I don't quite see the link to World in Motion, New Order. World in Motion was what? England 1990, Italian 1990. John Barnes right in. John Barnes right in. John Barnes didn't play. John Barnes didn't play for Barcelona.
Who played for Barcelona?
Barcelona number 10. Who's your number 10 for Barcelona? It's going to be a number 10 for Barcelona.
Is it an England number
1990? What?
That played for Barcelona.
It could be an English player who played for Barcelona in 1990. When did Gary Lineker?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. When did Gary Lineker play for?
Got to be Lineker.
Got to be.
He's number 10 for England, wasn't he?
He's
number 10, not position number 10. He was the number 10.
I don't know. Do you know that kind of numbers? I'm terrible for that. Apart from Frank Lampard playing number 8, I don't know what number anyone was. Honestly, it's like my kiddies Gary Lineker. I've got no interest. Okay, Gary Lineker is our answer, but if you think you know the answer to the mystery quiz, which we presented to ruin, give us a text. 81089 or WhatsApp us for free. 03717
We just ruined it for him.
I think you probably have. I think we might have. We might even
me.
DJ Marco might have to get working. Oh, we've got it wrong. We've thrown everyone down the garden path. But right now, before we start talking about time, we've asked the Leeds fans to call in, and you didn't disappoint. Let's speak to Ben, Leeds United fan. Ben, congratulations.
Hey Ben.
How's things, gents? You well? You good?
Yeah, I mean, not as well as you, neither of us. You're flying, aren't you? This is dream come true territory.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. Well, actually, I want to say first thing, before I come off slightly off topic, I want to just mention about Archie Gray, because obviously he's a bit of a Leeds United great, given, his uncle, isn't it? Yeah, of course, his uncle. That's fantastic. So I'm really, really proud of him, and he's ecstatic about today, scoring that goal, and yeah, so big shout to him, silly listening. And also the whole thing of, he's got to be, isn't he? He does listen to talkSPORT, absolutely. What's the other thing? So yeah, Calvert-Lewin, fantastic. I'll be honest, I was a little bit worried because I was saying to a few of my friends I play football quite regularly myself, not at a competitive level, but we all think we are, you know what I mean? But anyway, regardless, what's going on? So I said to these boys, I said, look, what do you think about Calvert-Lewin? That's got to be a shout, isn't it? Because I thought he was pretty good at Everton, apart from when, of course, he got injured, which is it's part of the game. So people are ruling him out, saying, oh, you know, well, yeah, if you can keep him fit, you know, if you can. It was almost, that was the conversation. And I thought, no, actually, I hope this guy does this now. I know I'm a Leeds fan, I can be biased about saying that, but actually, I thought, no, you've got to give this guy some credit. He's a good footballer. And I'm really grateful that, I know he's in the league chef, so I can say that, but the fact that he is now doing what he's doing, he's come back from injury, and it hasn't phased him at all. And it just clicks, and I'm really pleased for him. And I really do hope he goes to the World Cup. That's what I really want to say.
But what is he doing? What is he doing now that he perhaps wasn't doing at the start of the season? Of course, he was low on confidence, I feel, when he arrived. But what's the difference in him now?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he's just got to know the lads. I think. I don't know. It's a scary one. I mean, I'll tell you what. I know it sounds silly because I'm not even an amateur footballer. I also respect a bit more than I do play. I only play with the lads, messing about on a Friday evening or whatever. But when you play with a group of players who are good, but actually you don't know them, it's quite frustrating. And actually, you want to do your thing, and if they don't know how you do your thing, it can be really frustrating, and you can actually your game can be impacted. I do believe that. But I play with another group regularly, weekly, and I know how these guys play, and a lot of them are better footballers than me, but I know that they know where I'm going to be or what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to, because I'm a bit hit and miss, but when it comes up, it comes up.
I think you're a bit more confident.
You're trying to get an agent here. What's going on? Yeah, he wants to get a game at Gloucester City. What's going on?
No, I'll be honest. No, it's just I've got this weird thing about Gloucester. I'm absolutely addicted to the game, and a neutral, you know, I'm going to...
I'm just going to have to interrupt you. I'm so sorry, Ben, but we have to cross immediately to Alexandra Palace, to Ian Banter at the Darts.
Fantastic performance from Jan van Veen, the number 10 seed. The young Dutchman is through. He's beaten Manas Rasma of Latvia by 4 sets to 1. He took out a 1-2-5 out shot to clinch the match. Even Darren Ambrose would have struggled with Van Veen at his best, nudging 100 with his average. Rasma tried his best, got a few 180s in there, but it was inevitable really once Van Veen found his range that he was going to make it through. He will take on the winner of Ricky Evans and Charlie Manby, who play tomorrow. Next up on the stage on Alexandra Palace, it's the former world champion Luke Humphries against the former semi-finalist here, Gabriel Clements. That game will be live on the talkSPORT app, on the talkSPORT YouTube page, and on talkSPORT 2. BBC World Darts Championship update on talkSPORT with Village Hotels. Hit the bullseye this New Year's Eve. Party at one of our New Year's Eve events. 34 locations across the UK. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Thank you very much for that, Ian Dancer. Now let's go back to Ben. Ben, tell us more about your footballing career.
Yeah, so I was just saying, so listen to me, people know it, honestly, mate. You have a callers, I know. But no, honestly, I just think, I honestly do believe that because he's had the opportunity now, I think he's got to know lads. I mean, when it clicks, it clicks for him. And this is what I love about the side. We can be horrific or we can be very, very good. But at the moment, I would say, we're very, very good. Bearing in mind we're playing in the best league I think there is. I think it's to be a bit hard myself again. But, you know, given the fact that just because we've come up, the idea is, oh, you know, all these 3 teams that come up, they should just go back down. But actually, no, I think this is for a neutral at least. It's what we want to see. We want to see teams fighting. We want to see Sunderland up there like they are. We want to see Leeds pushing. And I'm happy, great, of course, because my team's going to stay in the top flight, I hope. But actually, it's all about communication. The philosophy is so deep, isn't it? That when the players are on the pitch, they've got to be mates, but they don't have to get along. They still know how each other play. So they don't have to talk to each other. As long as they know where someone's going to be, where they need to be, where they need to be, that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
I got it's essential there, Ben. They haven't got to be mates, they've just got to get along.
Absolutely, but the most important thing is they don't need to be mates. They just need to know where they're going to be at the time when they look up. You know what I mean? If Wilfred Monto's on the left and they know for a fact he's just going to be a workhorse and he's going to be wherever he's going to be, they know that if he's going to be there, put the ball there and he'll get it. Right? I know it sounds simplistic, doesn't it? But actually, no, it doesn't. Because if you play these boys regularly, especially if you're training with them, you can do all sorts of things. I really do believe it.
Ben, this is amazing. I've never known anyone be able to talk at such a rapid rate.
So confident, but then so not confident.
So deprecated at the same time. Yeah,
when I've got the ball at my feet, I think it's the boys, if they're listening now, obviously they'll be wetting themselves, right? Because I've got the ball at my feet, it could be Bambi, I won't say about the other bit, because I can be a bit naughty with the ball as well, but I'll do something, and then sometimes think, well, that came off. Because you put yourself under so much pressure, it comes off, it looks great. Right?
Because you know the team you're playing with is obviously the better positions you're going to be in.
No, Rose, this is amazing. You've actually made sense out of this. That is the best analysis I've ever heard you deliver. I haven't got a clue what's going on here.
I'm going to have to get back because I ain't got a clue. I know what I mean.
Mate, it's been an honour to speak to you. Fantastic work. And do you know what? Within that,
That's my favourite book.
I like how there was the parallels. He was talking about Leeds United, but kept giving parallels of his final sighting. But he was so confident, and then there's a rubbish. Forget it.
Rubbish, but I'm really good. I don't play often, but I play every day.
Do you know what I think? I think that we can learn and understand a little bit of that Leeds from that crazy call. They're just buzzing. They're just buzzing. They're over the
They're
ridge.
just a crazy team at the moment.
Crazy, crazy
They're so
team.
crazy.
And they call him Bambi, so there we go.
That's the other thing they do.
No, so there we go. Right, then next up, we're going to be talking about the huge title clash on Tuesday. Arsenal, Aston Villa fans, we really do want to hear from you. Tell us how you were feeling ahead of Tuesday night's game. 03717223344 is the phone number to call. This is the final word on talkSPORT.
Big winter racing, big moments, big finishes. And when your pick comes in second, third or fourth in the feature race, Tote gives you your money back as a free bet. The King George, the Welsh National, the Savills Chase and more across the festive period. If your horse hits the frame, Tote's got your back. Tote, money back when it matters. Totally. Most refund £20, online cash win or each way bets on the feature race Boxing Day to 1st of Jan. Option required. Eligibility and key terms at tote.co.uk. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
It's the subtle things you should look for this Christmas. Mum struggling to remember the grandkids' names, or forgetting the sprouts, and getting overly frustrated or confused about it. Because with a third of people living with dementia undiagnosed, subtle things could be a sign of something bigger. For vital support and information, visit the Alzheimer's Society website. It will take a society to beat dementia. Alzheimer's Society.
Throw a red carpet down the drive, rope off your front gate and tip off the paparazzi. Because with People's Postcode Lottery, you could have a VIP, a very important postcode. In our January draws, players in the winning postcode will each win £12,000 every month for 12 months. Sign up before midnight on the 31st of December for you and your neighbours' chance to win. Is your door in the draw? People's Postcode Lottery managed lotteries on behalf of the quarters. 18 plus conditions apply. Pay responsibly. Not available in Northern Ireland.
Hi, just thinking what now. Sorry it's a bit loud. Basically, so I was thinking we could get Mackey's tonight. Had a Big Mac on my mind all day, and delivery fee on the app is now from 99p. So, you in? Of course you are. Okay, bye.
Exclusively on the McDonald's app. 18 plus, service fee small order fee may apply. Participating restaurants, serving times and T's apply.
Did you hear that, sports fans? It's the sound of Skybet Super Week, supersized with stacks of huge offers across all your favourite sports, like horse racing, golf, and football. Enjoy Skybet Super Week, supersized with offers at 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. daily. Skybet for the fans. December 26th to January 4th. Eligibility restrictions and further T&Cs apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org. talkSPORT Breakfast in partnership with Arnold Clark. We guarantee the best used car dealers in the UK. We go through the years every morning with top-of-the-day sports edition, ABS, stories, breaking news, and more great talks in a gallon. Plus, a stellar lineup of super celebrity sports guests as standard. talkSPORT Breakfast every weekday morning from 6 on talkSPORT with Arnold Clark. We guarantee the best used car deals in the UK.
Trans-Euro Express. Come from 9 on talkSPORT. The nation's premier Russian international football program from Paris to Barcelona. Unmissable European football talk. Trans-Euro Express, the world's favorite European football program. Tonight from 9 on talkSPORT.
She's a perfect 10, but she wears a 12. Baby, keep a little 2 for me.
Songs and loads of people are getting it right away. If you know who our mystery footballer is, text 81089 or WhatsApp for free 03717223344. Now let's look ahead to a huge Premier League game. We will start with Arsenal versus Aston Villa. this could be, it could be, am I right here, Darren, to position this as a Christmas party design? Will it indicate at least? I'll tell you what it will tell us, is this fair? It will tell us if Villa are genuinely in a title race.
Before we talk about this game, why have we gone an hour and a half, an hour and 50 minutes without talking about Chelsea?
You want to do that?
Yeah, we do that. We'll do that, because I suppose it kind of implies to Aston Villa, don't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what is going wrong with Chelsea? Obviously lost 2-1 to Aston Villa. Who were, 11 wins in a row, by the way. Absolutely outstanding. But Chelsea have only won 1 in 6. What's happening?
Do you know what? Again,
are they out the top 4 now?
I don't know. Yeah. Look, our ambition now is simply Champions League qualification. We're 5th in the league at the moment.
Yeah.
But do you know what? And I don't know if this is because
with Manchester United.
I've still got a little bit of festive spirit. The New Year's approaching.
No, you haven't.
New man. I'm trying to be a new man. I'm trying to have a kinder outlook and just like adopt a glass half full mentality. My approach to this game now. Chelsea lost to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Of course we did. Do you know why?
Why?
Because Unai Emery is a top 2 manager and Enzo Maresca is effectively a B-Tech version of Pep Guardiola.
Really?
Yeah, of course. Like, you know, if you're annoyed at Chelsea losing that game,
yeah,
it's foolish. It would be like being annoyed. At Jake Paul for losing to Anthony Joshua. One is a professional at the top of his game with the trophies to back it up. The other one is a pretender. Enzo Maresca is Jake Paul, and he's come up against Unai Emery, who is the governor. That's what it is.
To be fair, I heard you last night at the Rory Jennings show. See that little plug there, Rory.
Like that.
The caller called up and said, get rid of him right now, put JT back till the end of the season, then have Frank Lampard.
Yeah. That's emotion. Right, that's
that emotion.
I think that's emotion. Look, Frank Lampard.
Would you swap Enzo Maresca for Frank Lampard now?
Yeah, I would. But I always would. I'm probably the wrong person to ask here. Frank Lampard is Chelsea's greatest ever player. Like, it's not. Like, I remember when Solskjaer was at Manchester United and Lampard was at Chelsea, and the comparison was drawn. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's contribution to Man United.
Yeah.
But he's probably in their top 30 greatest players of all time. Frank Lampard is Chelsea's greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
Like, there should be a stand called the Frank Lampard stand.
Yeah.
We should have a statue there. So, of course, I'm always going to welcome Frank Lampard back to Chelsea with open arms. If you're making it a direct comparison of managers, that first season following Chelsea under Lampard, it was sensational.
Yeah.
It really was. And like, over Christmas, we went away to Tottenham and away to Arsenal in consecutive weekends. We won both. It was brilliant. We did that in the same season as Eden Hazard left. We didn't have a transfer window because we were banned. And Frank Lampard effectively took our youth team to the top 4 of the Premier League, to the FA Cup final, and to the last 16 of the Champions League. So yeah, I think Lampard is certainly comparable to Maresca. But it's probably not the right time. Look, he's doing a wonderful job at Coventry. He's breaking records there at the moment. He doesn't need to leave. But keeping it strictly focused on Maresca, I don't rate him. I don't particularly like him. But I don't particularly want him sacked either. It's just the whole situation at Chelsea now under his ownership just leaves me cold.
Yeah.
Which is a horrible situation because under normal circumstances, I either love or despise our managers.
Yeah.
Like, I desperately want Rafael Benitez out of the club. And I desperately want Jose Mourinho to not be sacked after withdrawal with Rosenborg. I don't care about this. I don't care about Enzo Maresca because he is nothing but a vehicle. Yeah.
To bring it back to Aston Villa, obviously the game yesterday.
They were so good at the second half though.
Chelsea dominated the first half. So what was the difference? Unai Emery made a couple of changes. Is that what you're saying in terms of the novice and the master? He made changes to change and affect the game.
You played the game at the top level, so you'll be more suited to answer this. But I can't think of an example of a manager winning a game of football where it's so clearly the manager. So like, I don't know, think about another game that was played yesterday. Think about Man City. Man City won at Nottingham Forest. What Guardiola did is big. But if you talk about why City won the game, you basically talk about Ray and Shirky, right?
Yeah.
I can't think of a game this season, and then maybe anybody listening will be able to help me out, where you can so clearly trace the result of the game back to the brilliance of the manager. Unai Emery made a triple substitution, and all of a sudden Chelsea's entire equilibrium was rocked. It was so obviously one manager outthinking another manager and winning his team the 3 points.
Is that just experience?
Yeah, I think it's being a better manager. I think Unai. I've got quite a lot of stick on this very station recently because I've been talking about how highly I rate Unai Emery. I think Unai Emery is the top above any other manager in the league aside from Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola, don't compare Pep Guardiola to managers managing at the moment. Yeah. Compare Pep Guardiola to Sir Alex Ferguson, to Arrigo Sacchi, to whoever you want, but not normal managers. Compared to normal managers, Unai Emery is the best manager in the league, no doubt. And we saw it at Stamford Bridge. That's why Aston Villa are potentially in a title race. That's why they are breaking records. They won, what, 10 in a row? 11 in a row, obviously beating us. They won 11 in a row. I think they've won 16 out of 18 if you go all comp. Yeah. If they beat Arsenal, if they win two trips to London, coming to London to play Chelsea, coming to London a few days later to play Arsenal, they come out of those two games with maximum points. They are serious contenders for the Premier League title.
You know what, it's crazy, because I would have never said they were. I don't think anyone would have said after the first 4 games of the season, they drew 0-0 to Newcastle, they lost 1-0 to Brentford, they lost 3-0 to Crystal Palace at home, then they drew 0-0 to Villa. They didn't score a goal in the first 4 games. Then I was there, I was at Brentford, I covered their game in the League Cup. I think Harvey Elliott scored a goal where he stuffed his shot and it went underneath the goalkeeper. They ended up losing on penalties to Brentford. They then drew to Sunderland away and then went on a run of, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including beating Tottenham in that, 6, 7, they beat Man City, and then they lost to Liverpool. And since then, on the 1st of November, they've won 11 in a row. I know it's a turnaround from Aston Villa compared to the start of the season.
It mirrors what happened at Stamford Bridge. It's like a one-to-one of what happened at Stamford Bridge. At Stamford Bridge, the first half, they were dominated, in a way that they were dominated for the first 4 games of the season. Yeah. Suddenly, Emery assesses the situation, makes some tweaks, makes some personnel changes, and they don't look back.
It's an incredible run of form, by the way.
What keeps they not Sancho? Those 3 games.
Arsenal, they'll be behind them on goal difference, so they'll be on the same points, 42 points. Yeah. Man City then go to Sunderland and win. Man City go into the new year at top.
Yeah, which is symbolic. It's symbolic. Although, do you know what? I looked at this because I was thinking that, like, you know, being top on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Being top on Christmas Day has absolutely no relevance to winning the league. It's surprising how few teams have been top Christmas Day have actually lifted the title. Yeah. New Year's Day is a little bit different, I think. But it would be symbolic, wouldn't it? If Arsenal go into the new year not top, considering everything that they've done, considering the run that they were on, considering their dominance. Yeah. But it looks ominous. It does look ominous for us.
We said they would go in top, but Man City obviously go to Sunderland on the 1st of January, on Thursday, with the opportunity to go top, which you'd expect them to win that. I know Sunderland have been fantastic this season, got the draw today at home to Leeds, but you'd expect Manchester City to win. That may not happen, so Manchester City would go into the new year essentially being top of the league.
With that pressure therefore on Arsenal and Villa, but certainly on Arsenal, what do you think the score will be? Who do you think comes out victorious at the Emirates tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a pivotal game, and I say that because Unai Emery back at the Emirates as well, where, look, for whatever reason, it didn't work out for him. Mikel Arteta is a better manager for Arsenal than Unai Emery is for Arsenal. I think Aston Villa go there and win.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair way to put it, by the way. In terms of who's a better manager, if you're neutral about it and you just go, who's a better manager overall?
Yeah.
Unai Emery and Mikel Arteta, there is no comparison. It's Unai Emery by an absolute mile. Yeah. But in terms of being a better manager for Arsenal, I think Arsenal fans will argue that they are happy with their choice. They are happy with what Arteta.
I think that's a valid argument as well. Do I think Unai Emery would have turned it around and done special things at Arsenal? Yes, I do.
Do you think Unai Emery would have won a league title if Arsenal didn't sack him?
Yeah.
Do you think they would have won a league title right now?
I do. I think they'd have got one of those over the line.
Yeah.
I just think he has the nous behind him. He has the experience. He has that winning mentality. And I'm not saying Mikel Arteta doesn't, but I think
he doesn't have it.
He'd have done enough. He'd have done enough. But look, they're happy with the change. They're happy with Mikel Arteta. But I think he would have turned that around.
Also, every time when you think about like significant pictures where they come up against each other, like Villarreal going to the Emirates and stopping Arsenal doing anything in Europe. A couple of years ago, 2023, it was the Aston Villa. Remember, Arsenal went on an amazing run. They came back from Dubai. Ben White became one of the best players in the league.
Yep.
They won 17 out of 18. The only one they didn't win was Unai Emery and Aston Villa visited.
You just said it there. The pressure. Now we've got a few Arsenal supporters in the back staff.
Not half we don't.
I mean, that's a few, a lot more than a few. It's sickening actually when we go there, isn't it? But some of them are saying, I don't even want to go to the Emirates. I don't want to go there because they're that nervous.
The thing is though, they're playing like they're nervous, but they keep winning.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised.
Does that catch up with you though? I know everyone says it's a sign of champions, it's a sign of a good team that you win when you're not playing particularly well.
Yeah.
Can that catch up with you?
What I think they're doing, it's all a little bit early. Like Arsenal, it feels to me like Arsenal are playing and they're getting over the line, they're inching over the line, they're finding a way to get over the line, and that's very impressive. 5 games from the end of the season. You know, if they were putting in these performances where it's all a bit clunky and they get a last-minute winner against Wolves,
yeah.
You're doing that 5 games before the end of the season when nothing else matters apart from the 3 points.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
I think with Aston Villa, no one's expecting. I'm not saying it's as big as Leicester, it will be, but no one's expecting them. No one expects them to be up there. Never mind get as close to be called title contenders in coming into January. But with Arsenal, there's so much pressure that one player missing, Declan Rice missing, the whole season comes crumbling down.
Yeah, I think there is the reason why there is such an expectation on Arsenal though, and I think that they have to do it this year, is because they've been so close, time after time after time. Like they have to get over.
If they don't do it this year, it goes, right?
I think so, because this is the first time I think that we can say this totally fairly. This is the first time that Mikel Arteta has got the best squad in the league. He's certainly got the best 11 in the league. He's now got the best squad in the league. He's waited for ages to have a better team than Pep Guardiola. He's now got a better team than Pep Guardiola. Arguably, he had a better team than them last year. And Arne Slot got ahead of him. At some point, he has to get it over.
So they're top of the league. They're going to be top no matter what happens. Click over into January.
Yeah, but not that fixture. Not that game week.
Yeah, not game week, but they'll be top. They'll be top of the Champions League table. Semi-final of the League Cup. What's successful?
Arsenal need to win one of the 2 major trophies.
Champions League or League.
Yeah, I think so.
Or I think they can't keep saying we're progressing.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what though? I think sometimes it doesn't happen often in football. Generally, when a manager leaves a club, it's generally because of a sacking.
Yeah.
Generally, but there is such a thing where you can almost shake hands and say thank you. You've taken us as far as you can. And I wonder if it would be that with Arteta.
Right.
Look, you're not a finisher. You're not the man to get us over the line. You're the Claudio Ranieri before Jose Mourinho came in.
This is the year. This is the year, and I agree with you. They have to. The League Cup's not enough for me. They have to get one of the big ones. Isn't it amazing? A Spurs and a Chelsea supporter.
Yeah. I can't tell you.
Cutting them out.
It's horrible that Chelsea is so average. It's horrible the way that Chelsea are run. It's horrible the Chelsea ownership at the moment. But what it's done, it means I don't really have pressure on my own club.
Yeah.
So I can almost focus on
supporting Villa.
Whoever Arsenal are playing. I could get a season ticket in the Arsenal away end. I'd be happy in there every week. I could just support whoever Arsenal are playing. That is certainly my priority at the moment. Now, Arsenal are taking on Aston Villa, and it is live and exclusive on talkSPORT this Tuesday. One of 10 games live across the talkSPORT network this week. Check out our website, talksport.com, for more details. And if you want some more post-Christmas cheer in your life, celebrity Nottingham Forest supporter and comedian Matt Ford's brilliant new podcast, How to Win the World Cup, is available to listen to via the talkSPORT app. But coming up next, we turn that cheer to jeers as West Ham United fans get in touch and talk about their loss at the London Stadium to put Nuno Espirito Santo under huge pressure. This is the final word on talkSPORT.
Whatever kind of football fan you are, talkSPORT and the Coral Daily Download are here for it to celebrate the fans every day. Whether you're a front row seater or a prawn sandwich eater, a half-and-half scarf wearer or a lifelong faithful torch bearer, a retro shirt for every game or purchase it, even in the rain. For all the latest news, reaction and odds this season, don't miss the Coral Daily Download. Every morning from 6 on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans. 18+ gambleware.org.
This Christmas, make every journey magical with Trust Ford. Whether it's family moments or your booming business, explore the range of new Ford vehicles from petrol to all electric and make your switch for 26. Right now, enjoy 0% APR and great upgrade savings on a range of Ford cars and vans. It's the perfect time to upgrade and drive home the joy. But hurry, these deals won't be around for long. Drive home the magic this Christmas. Visit your local Trust Ford dealership or online at trustford.co.uk.
This season, LifeScore Bets is bringing you more ways to win with our weekly promotions. No goal, no problem. Far payout to the rescue. Leaving at the break, celebrate your ACCA early with halftime heroes. 2 goals ahead, ching, rest easy and enjoy the game courtesy of 2 Up. Celebrate every goal, every twist and turn this season with LifeScore Bet, bringing you more ways to win. LifeScore Bet, total betting. Eligible to markets vary. Full T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
It's the subtle things you should look for this Christmas. Mum struggling to remember the grandkids' names, or forgetting the sprouts, and getting overly frustrated or confused about it. Because with a third of people living with dementia undiagnosed, these subtle things could be a sign of something bigger. For vital support and information, visit the Alzheimer's Society website. It will take a society to beat dementia. Alzheimer's Society.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Booking geniuses. Get free airport lounge access when you book a 5-star holiday with On the Beach. Feet up, fill your boots. Una drink, por favor. On the beach. Book it now.
Conditions apply. 7-night morning stay, outbound only visa available to up to 6 people, subject to lounge availability, at home, at all protected.
On that beach. Love that feeling when the game just clicks? At Virgin Bet, you'll find all your favourites in one place. Classic casino games and hundreds of the most exciting slots. And it's a good bet you'll love our new member welcome offer. Just join, wager at least £10 on slots within 7 days of signing up, and get 100 free spins to get you started. Virgin Bet, a good bet. Use free spins on selected games in 7 days. Value varies. Terms and exclusions apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. Gambleaware.org.
The stars come out to talk on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2. The biggest names in football.
Former Barcelona captain Gerald Piqué. You know you're more handsome in real life.
Blue chip, triple A rated opinion.
And a severely good morning to Mani Pretty. His achievements, has been magnificent.
Planet-sized players.
The legend that is Peter Schmeichel. I've been very, very entertained so far.
Massive games, massive names on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2. The scream of a butterfly.
Final word phoning. 26k for 2026 on talkSPORT.
Now, talkSPORT is already looking ahead to an exciting year that is 2026, and we are giving you the chance to win a massive £26,000. What better way to kick off 2026 than with some serious cash? Yes, you heard it right, 26 grand.
Yes, it's our biggest New Year cash giveaway, and it could be yours. It's 26,000 for 2026, and here's how to enter. For your chance to win, text WIN, W-I-N, to 83338. That's 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or you can call 0343 423 9761. I'll repeat that, it's 0343 423 9761. Line closes at 12 p.m. 9th of January 2026. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. UK residents only, 18 plus. It's a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com/win. And good luck.
That sounds incredible. What we're going to do now, Darren, is we're going to go straight back to the calls. Let's hear what Rash has to say. Rash, you're a Man City fan. Hey, Rash.
Yeah. Man City are going to win the league this year. I feel it coming.
Weirdly.
That's not a bold statement, to be honest, is it? You're 2 points behind, Rash.
And Arsenal are going to box the leg in. I don't think they'll have some convincing.
If you get ahead, Rash, if you get ahead, if whatever happens, as soon as you get ahead, you think that's it, done.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Arsenal are not coming back. Look at City, it's the best squad in the world, come on.
What is it about City that makes you so confident?
Look at your squad.
What is it, Rash? Is it Arsenal's fragility that we've seen over the years, or is it something about City that you see that you think is unstoppable?
The thing is, Arsenal, look at these, all these own goals, these 2-1 wins. Look at City last year, 3-0 before the 2-1. Like City, they're winning convincingly, they're playing well, they're working together as a team.
Is there not an argument though, Rash? Obviously, Haaland's scoring a lot of goals. Foden Foden, I think Foden's got 10 goals this season as well. After that, there's 2s and 3s next to people's names. What if one of those gets injured?
Yeah, we've got Haaland. All we need is Haaland. Look at Haaland.
Yeah, that's true. With Erling Haaland in the team, anything is possible.
He is Haaland.
We now have a next caller who's coming in, and I am honoured to say, all rise. It's Anthony
I
Costa
love what
from
you've
Blue.
done there. Love what you've done there.
Anthony,
what you done there, mate.
how are you?
What you done there, mate. I'm alright. You alright?
Yeah, I'm
good, man. Was you at the game?
I'm good. Nah, mate, I was washing my hair. No, I'm doing a show at the moment. I'm doing panto up near Dartford, actually.
Okay.
So I watched it in between shows. Yeah, it was just a tough game, wasn't it? It was one of them tough place to go sort of vibe games, and got the job done. But mate, I was bored. I'll be honest, I was bored.
Does that matter, Anthony? To anyone listening, this is Anthony Costa from Blue. He's a big Tottenham fan.
Yeah.
Just to ask you, Anthony, you know, you're talking about the boredom there. You won the game. Is winning in itself not entertaining?
Right, 100%, mate. Right, so I'm about to come into that. Hook or by crook, you've got to win. Right, if you get over the line, that's what matters. Right, the 3 points is what matters, and that's what I've always said. Okay, when we had Mourinho and we won games 1-0, Conte 1-0, I was buzzing. But then some Spurs fans are like, yeah, but that's not the Tottenham way. We need to be front foot, attack. And I'm like, so you'd rather lose 6-5 and score 5 goals and be entertained, or win 1-0 and get 3 points? Now, I'm looking at it now from that perspective of I want to be entertained, right? And I'm sitting there going, what do we want as fans? And as you said, 3 points is 3 points. Today was a game with Messi, post-Christmas, anything could have happened. You know, I had Mateta down scoring a header from a corner in my group chats, losing 1-0. You know, it could have been one of them games. Okay, we won, got over the line. But I haven't enjoyed Spurs for at least 2 or 3 seasons, man. Forget what happened in May, right? Amazing. It was the best day. We won a trophy. It was amazing. But as a whole, the Premier League games and everything, I wasn't excited at all. And I, for one, wanted Thomas Frank to work, and I still do. Don't get me wrong, but I just can't see an identity what we're trying to do.
That's the word, Anthony. I think.
Has he had time, though, Anthony? Has he had time to instill his own identity? When you think about what a disaster Mourinho probably left him.
No, he hasn't, mate, and he hasn't had time to do it. And this is my point, right? I'm talking on some Spurs fans that just want attack football. I want a manager that, if you're winning 1-0, shut shop for the last 10 minutes and win the game, right? But I've had arguments after arguments with fans over the years that just want to see free-flowing 8 games, 8 goals in a game, and I'm like, that's not football.
You'll know that. That only works if you're winning. If you're winning 5-4, then I was more entertained today winning 1-0 than I was when we lost 5-3 to PSG, because we lost the game.
Exactly. And this is the thing, like, and yet some Spurs fans go, not everyone's got their opinion, and rightly so, but I want to be entertained, but football's not that all the time. I want a manager that, as I said, if you're winning 1-0, or 2-0 or 2-1, you just shut shop, get over the line. And today, okay, I was a bit bored, but it was just one of them games. But last season, bless him, if he didn't win the cup, it would have been the worst season ever as a Spurs fan in my history. So, we were lucky we won that cup. It wasn't a great game, but then I was like, okay, but we won the trophy 1-0. Yeah, but we won a trophy. I'm like, but it wasn't a great game. Yeah, but we still won. And these are the same people that want to see 8 games and 8 goals in a game.
So it wasn't for Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton, even with the trophy, it would have been the worst season, because we'd have been relegated.
100%, Darren, 100%, mate. And I don't know what we want, man. And now January's around the corner. Who's going to come in? Are we going to find anyone? Is anyone going to be attracted to our club? It was just a mess, man. It just feels like a mess. Do you know what I mean?
Are you back in Thomas Frank? Do you think he's the man to get you out of this mess?
Well, I don't know who else is out there. I was listening to you boys on the way up here, way home. There's no one else out there, so you have to have what you've got in front of you and just give him time. We've got to give him to the end of the season. I said to him, we started talking, I for one was excited because I've seen what he did at Brentford. And if you put Brentford and Spurs players next to each other, you're going to say we've got a better squad, right? But it just seems now we've regressed a little bit, and I'm thinking, what is going on at Spurs, man? Is it the players? Is it the players' mentality?
It's the mentality. It's nerves. They're all victims of last season and what happened. And look, however much people loved or disliked Ange Postecoglou, he put all his eggs in that basket in the Europa League, and he ended up winning it, which cost us the league campaign, which cost us confidence, which has obviously progressed into this season, and that's why I think the nerves and particularly home games, you obviously go to a lot more than I do, but the home games, there's a real element of negativity around.
Last season and this season especially, we just stunk the place out. And it's just, we want to make Spurs Stadium a fortress, but we can't. There's no atmosphere, there's no buzz. I don't look forward to it. I've given my ticket away umpteen times this season. That's not me. I used to beg, borrow and steal for a ticket when I was a kid growing up. And now I've got the opportunity to go. I don't really go because I think I'm going to go there and see my team half-hearted, trying to play a bit of football and might win 1-0, might lose 3-1, might lose 1-0, and it's like, it's just that, do you know what I mean? And I just haven't enjoyed us, man. And maybe I'm wrong saying it, but I don't know anything else. This club has done me big time.
Yeah,
it does my head.
It's fascinating to hear you speak as passionately as this, Anthony. There is certainly a problem going on in football at the moment. I mean, like the new stadium or whatever, when you think about what Tottenham were at the old ground, when you think about how intimidating and intense that old stadium was.
Yeah.
Like, it absolutely was. People keep telling me how brilliant the new ground is. I'm like, I always prefer, give me a Loftus Road over a new Tottenham ground. Yeah.
Yeah, man. All day long. I miss the old White Hart Lane, and I'm not actually saying it for people to say, what is he talking about? I miss that old White Hart Lane. I miss those concrete stairs going up and seeing the same old faces in the same old seats and etc. etc. And losing. Okay, you're going to win, lose or draw game. That's football, But I just miss that atmosphere, and unfortunately, we haven't got that at the stadium, and that's the truth.
That is a fantastic call there.
Yeah, cheers,
Anthony Costa from Blue. It was a flyby call, but it was Darren, mate, that's me at my best there. You miss him. Can't waste it on you. Absolutely wasted on you. But no, it was fascinating to hear Anthony talking about the perilous position that Tottenham find themselves in.
It's sad.
It is sad. I think there's an epidemic of that in football as well. You hear Anthony talking about what football was for him compared to what it is now. And I think that these new stadiums, they're not always what they should be. Now, still to come, before we hand the baton over to the brilliant Trans-Europe Express, we will reveal who our mystery footballer is and look at the huge week of Premier League games coming up live right here on talkSPORT. That's next on Final Word on talkSPORT.
At GrosvenorCasinos.com, every free daily spin could lead to a win. You can win cash, free spins and more every day and a free grand prize winning, plus a top prize of £1,000. Experience it all at GrosvenorCasinos.com. Eligible players 18 plus. T&Cs apply. Keep it fun.
Hey Sainsbury's, I'm having a big party. Got any finger food that won't cost an arm and a leg?
We do. All our Sainsbury's party food is 3 for 2 with nectar, like our Taste the Difference crispy mushroom tartlets, mini wagyu beef cheeseburgers, or crispy chicken bao buns. That will get them coming back for seconds.
And thirds. Want to save big on party pleasers? Ask Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's, good food for all of us.
18 plus, next required, cheapest product free, available in store and online, excluding locals, subject to availability, T's and C's apply.
Love that feeling when a game just clicks? At Virgin Bet, you'll find all your favourites in one place. Classic casino games and hundreds of the most exciting slots. And it's the good bet you'll love our new member welcome offer. Just join, wager at least £10 on slots within 7 days of signing up and get 100 free spins to get you started. Virgin Bet, a good bet. Use free spins on selected games in 7 days. Value varies. Terms and exclusions apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. GambleAware.org.
The Hilton sale is now on, and thankfully it doesn't sound like this. Instead, our sale sounds a bit more like this.
Welcome back.
With a warm welcome, spacious rooms, central locations, and up to 20% off your stay. You can swap chaos for comfort this winter. Book now at Hilton.com. Hilton, for the stay. Offer subject to availability across participating hotels. Terms and conditions apply.
Get involved with talkSPORT's full-on fan forum and hear insight and analysis from a top team of pumped-up pundits.
Absolutely first class.
Every weeknight from 7 on Kick-Off on talkSPORT.
And it's a thing of beauty.
Plus get the lowdown on all the latest odds direct from Ladbrokes and hear live commentaries of selected matches throughout the season.
Brilliant football.
Kick-Off, weeknights from 7 on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. 18 plus gamblerware.org. Monday night, live championship football on talkSPORT 2.
He's going to let fly. Oh, what a strike.
Coventry City versus Ipswich.
Goes in. Nothing you can do about that one.
Kick-Off 6 p.m.
Can you believe it?
Monday night of footballing deity.
talkSPORT 2.
Kick it.
She's a perfect 10, but she wears a 12. Baby, keep a little 2 for me.
Confirm that you got this right. Lots of people got it right. In fact, the first person to text in with the correct answer was Danny the Black Cabbage. So congratulations, Danny, you won that. Always nice to see it go to Black Cabbage. I was brought up by a Black Cabbage, my dad. Yeah. Now, before we talk all things West Ham United, let's head to Ali Pally for a PDC World Darts Championship update from talkSPORT's Mark Wilson.
Yeah, former champion Luke Humphries leads the German giant Gabriel Clemens by 2-0. Clemens has not missed too many darts at double, but he's been punished when he has, including the opening set. Missed twice at the outer ring. Humphries stepped in to break the throw, and he did so again in the second set. So race to 4 sets for a place in the last 16 that may see the Nathan Aspinall or Kevin Dukes. All the action live right now on the talkSPORT app and on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel and on talkSPORT 2. Humphries leads Clemens by 2-0.
PDC World Darts Championship update on talkSPORT with Village Hotels. Hit the bullseye this New Year's Eve. Party at one of our New Year's Eve events. 34 locations across the UK. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Thank you very much, Mark. So we have saved our festive cheer to last as we turn our attention to the other end of the Premier League table, and it's been a really bad day in the office for West Ham United against Fulham as the hapless Hammers lost 1-0. They're in stuck, aren't they, Darren?
Yeah, I think they're struggling at the moment. What are they? They're on 30. Well, they're 5 points adrift at the moment, and you just can't see them picking up any points. You can't see them winning anything. I think yesterday, I don't know what Nuno is doing. I don't know why he's doing it, but who's West Ham's best player? Jarrod Bowen.
Yeah.
What's Jarrod Bowen's best position? Off the right. Play Jarrod Bowen up front.
Yeah.
He's not effective up front.
No, but there is, as a counter-argument to that, is he not doing that because he's forced to do that because they don't have anyone else at the
Wilson.
Yeah, I just don't. Callum Wilson is the answer. I don't mean this to sound disrespectful, but what is the question if Callum Wilson is the answer to that question?
Like the answer is that he is someone that allows their best player to play in their best, most effective position, and he didn't. Look, it's an experiment. I get that. He's experimented putting Jarrod Bowen up front. Ineffective. I felt for the young lad who gave the mistake away, and he showed that he cared. He showed a bit of passion. Yes, he'll learn from that. No one likes to see someone in tears at the end of the game, but he'll learn from that. It shows he cares about the football club. At the moment, they're only going one way.
Do you know what, right? West Ham, they've only won 2 games at home this season. And do you know, sometimes when we talk about football, right, we get a little bit clever with it and we're trying to find things. We're looking at XG charts and we're looking at all of these formulas that will tell us the answer. Sometimes, though, football's a really simple game. The reason why West Ham are in the relegation zone is because they have a very, very average team. Like, you look across that team, it is just distinctly average football after distinctly average football, and they're in a situation because of mismanagement from above where they are exactly where they should be. Like, Paquetá would be one of their best players, but he's incredibly frustrating. Every time I watch him, he just give the ball away. Constantly give the ball away.
Does he care enough? Paquetá?
I mean, I think it's all gone a little bit wrong for him. You know, Gareth Bowen's been off form. The captain's armband, it clearly weighs heavy on him.
Yeah.
He's taken its toll. And then I don't know what the answer is. You mentioned Callum Wilson. Is it Somerville? Somerville can't keep fit. I mean, you're looking at the answers in the midfield, and you've still got Tom Souček around the team.
Yeah.
You're relying on that kid, the Potts.
Yeah.
I just think that it's so clear.
It's hard in the Premier League to rely on kids, which is essentially what they're doing at the moment. You look around their team, I think in January they need to make some signings. They really do. Whether they will, I don't think they will. I think they need a new goalkeeper. I really do. Maybe one, maybe two centre halves. I like Max Gilman, but maybe both centre halves need to change. And
you go down with Max Gilman at the back, though.
Yeah,
you just go. I appreciate that you would extend a courtesy to professional footballers because you're nicer than I am. But if Max Gilman is your answer, you're relegate.
I understand that, but we've seen Max Gilman play well with the right partner beside him.
Half a decade ago.
But with the wrong partner beside him, he doesn't play well. And what they need is experience. I know everyone looks at that, but they need experienced players. They've got Jared Bowen, they've got Paquetá, of course. But they need experience in the middle of midfield. Someone to control. They had Declan Rice. They were brilliant with Declan Rice. Look what he's gone on to do.
And they just didn't
replaced him with players that are not good enough.
It is terrible. And now talkSPORT understands that West Ham will consider changing the manager for a third time this season if their form does not improve quickly. Sources have told talkSPORT that some of the West Ham hierarchy have also been left perplexed by Espirito Santo's reluctance to start with a recognised striker in his team.
Exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Callum Wilson.
No, whatever's wrong, you know, I'm not even joking. Yeah. If you were to ask me to write 100 problems at West Ham United, I could write a list. Yeah. 100 problems at the club, right? I would start. David Sunderland, Karen Brady. I could write 100 problems since they moved. The way that they have pulled the rug out from under their fans, the brilliance of the bowling. You think about the beauty of that stadium, and now they're playing in the worst stadium in the country. The over-sanitisation of that stadium, the over-sanitisation of their sport. I could write 100 things wrong with West Ham. I don't think I mentioned Nuno Espirito Santo. Whatever you think of Espirito Santo, whatever you think of how good he is, he's clearly the best manager that West Ham United can get.
Yeah, but the buck stops to the manager in every walk of life, all the board. But the board ain't going to change. Yeah. The manager will.
The manager
he'll get a payoff. He'll get a nice, comfortable little payoff again.
Yeah. Do you honestly think that there is a world where they could improve?
No.
With a new manager?
No. I think they need serious help in the January transfer window with players coming in. But who are they going to attract?
I think it's a mess. But I think it's a mess because of mismanagement of boardroom level. Now this has been emotional, Darren. Thank you.
Loved it, mate.
Thank you so much. And the talkSPORT Breakfast show returns on Monday morning, where Jeff Stelling is alongside the former Aston Villa forward Gabriel Bonlovo. But if you need some music in your life, swipe across on the talkSPORT app to the Virgin Radio Breakfast Show. All the details are on our website, talksport.com. The final word returns next Sunday, but next up it's one of the best shows on the radio, as the brilliant Danny Kelly brings you the Trans-Europe Express right here on talkSPORT.
Hawksby and Jacobs on your side tomorrow afternoon from 1 on talkSPORT with Toolstation, delivering cutting-edge comments, a catalogue of riveting guests, and drilled-down dialogue to power up your lunchtime. Plus, breaking news, views, and loads of laughs. Don't miss the nation's favourite sporting lunch with the legendary Hawksby and Jacobs. Tomorrow afternoon from 1 on talkSPORT with Toolstation. Next stop, Toolstation.
Join Midnight Casino and discover a whole new world! With hot slots, jackpots, live casino roulette, and blackjack at the ready. Come and play your way. Get 100 free spins when you spend £20 on eligible games. Search Midnight Casino or download the Midnight app today. Midnight. Casino done better. You decide. New customers only. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Merry Christmas, my love.
Merry Christmas, love.
Merry Christmas, Mummy.
Happy New Year!
From the UK's first mobile phone call to the first text, we've been connecting you at Christmas since 1984 on Vodafone, the nation's network. The nation's network, Vodafone UK, supporting the nation since 1984. Learn more at vodafone.co.uk/TNN.
GrosvenorCasinos.com. Every free day you spin could lead to a win. You could win cash, free spins and more. Every day and a free grand prize win. Plus a top prize of £1,000. Experience it all at GrosvenorCasinos.com. Eligible players 18 plus. T&Cs apply. Keep it fun.
This Christmas at Tesco, get 3 for 2 on selected chilled and frozen party food with your Tesco Club card. That's what makes it Christmas. Tesco, every little helps. Majority of large stores, any 3 for 2, cheapest product free, and 2nd of January. Club card or app required.
Big game this week. Want to bet? Stop and think. Because sometimes the best bet is the one you don't make. Gamble responsibly. Betfred. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
On 1089 and 1053 Medium Wave, online, on your mobile, and on your smart speaker.
Home of the festive 50. 50 games of football this December.
talkSPORT.
Good evening. With your sporting news update, I'm Steve Forbes. Archie Gray scored his first goal in senior football in a 1-0 win for Spurs against Palace at Selhurst Park. He stole us his first half effort, allowed Tottenham to take control in the second 45.
Wasn't the best game from, I don't think, either side. It was a bit of a scrappy game. Good to get the goal in that moment, like you said, to get a little bit of momentum going into half time. But we also had 2 disallowed goals, which must have been tight. I haven't seen it back, but I think the first one would have been really tight, especially.
Meanwhile, Dominic Calvert-Lewin can't stop scoring. He bagged his 8th of the season as Leeds claimed a 1-1 draw at Sunderland. Daniel Farkas told us why they've improved so much in recent weeks.
They've dominated us for many games in the beginning of the season and won many games. The better side that lost somehow unlucky because we missed a bit to finish our chances. In the last weeks we've taken more chances, we've scored many goals.
Stands that West Ham will consider changing their manager again this season should form not improve quickly. Under Nuno Espirito Santo, the Hammers have won just twice in 13 games. Elsewhere, Darren Moore's been sacked as manager of Port Vale. A 5-0 thrashing by Huddersfield on Boxing Day left them 10 points from safety in League One. Nick Kyrgios has beaten Arina Sabalenka in the dubbed Battle of the Sexes exhibition match. Our tennis guru, Lisa O'Sullivan, called it a gimmick.
They changed the dimensions of the court, very keen on saying 9% smaller because women are 9% slower, their reactions are different there. It just shows that you shouldn't mess with a sport that works pretty much as it is. Find another way to bring the audience in.
And Rob Cross and Gary Anderson are through to the last 16 of the World Darts Championship after wins earlier today. Luke Humphries is already 3 sets up against Gabriel Clemens, and Michael van Gerwen's up next. It's live over on talkSPORT 2.
talkSPORT
News. Donald Trump says he thinks the leaders of both Russia and Ukraine want to make a deal to end their war, and tributes are being paid to the cinema icon turned animal rights campaigner Brigitte Bardot, who's died at the age of 91.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. For a limited time only, get 15% off a set of 4 selected premium tyres. Don't miss out and book today at quickfit.com and drive away happy every time. Conditions apply.
Dry and settled overnight, but cloudy for most. A few breaks for Northern Ireland and Southern England.
talkSPORT Express, the weekly international football transmission from El Valley to Lisbon. Ich coming home.
Von der Serie A bis zur Bundesliga.
talkSPORT Express, international football radiophonique. talkSPORT Express on talkSPORT.
Welcome once again to Trans-Europe Express, your weekly injection directly into your eyeball of everything that is great and interesting from across the world of football, particularly the continent of Europe, though we will be going further, both to the United States
and to South America, of course, next 3 hours. I'm Danny Kelly, and I'm delighted to join you for what will be the last Trans-Europe Express of 2025. There will be no show without Andy Brassel, and of course the great man is on board as well. Over the next 3 hours, we're bringing all the major stories from across the continent, looking ahead to 2026 in both the Champions League and the upcoming World Cup. Well, we're back, they watching guests from South America, AFCON, and Italy as well. It should be a belting 3 hours. Really, it's a review of the year across the various big leagues in Europe. You're very welcome to it. I guess I'll be wishing you a happy Christmas and a happy season's greeting and towards the new year many times. But just in case you're only listening to this first introduction, and I'm putting off the rest of the show, happy greetings from across the whole of the season, and I hope you all have a brilliant 2026. For now, though, it's Trans-Europe Express looking back on 2025. Good evening, Andy. Hope you've had a great Christmas.
Evening, Danny. I have. How about you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Though I don't think I've struggled quite as much as you with a child's toy.
Oh, well, you say a child's toy.
I do say a child's toy.
You know what? Some of the Lego architecture actually says 18 plus on the box, as did...
That's the IQ requirement, Andy.
I was going to say, as did... I've not thought of it like that. As did that makes me feel ashamed of how long I took to complete it. I received, in very Trans-Europe Express style, for Christmas, a Lego model of the Trevi Fountain, a picture of which I will put on the socials later. But it is very, very Trans-Europe Express. And having spoken to the little minifigure of Neptune, from history, European figures from history believe in our show. Can you get ahead?
That is very, very good. It took only 3 days and several turkey sandwiches to put together the model of the Trevi Fountain, which takes us directly back to Italy. This is why we're winning all the awards, isn't it? In the last few weeks, we've been reporting about that Serie A game between Como and AC Milan. It's been on, off, and off. And last week, it was finally confirmed that it will be taking place in Perth, Australia, in the first few weeks of the new year, in a huge break from tradition for Serie A. It's off again. Daniele Fisichella, who's been so brilliant throughout the year, joins us again, our Italian football guru. Benvenuto, Daniele, how are you?
Ciao, good evening, Danny, good evening, Andy. Just to reassure the listeners, this is not a tape from last week. It's a new installment in the saga from last one.
You've got main character energy in a saga, yeah, you have. Daniele, I don't want to use the Anglo-Saxon epithet that begins with F, but what the hell is going on? What's happened now?
So, Milan Como is not going to be played in Perth in February. It's going to be played at San Siro at some point in mid-February, depending on the fixtures. Basically, the fixture that was announced only 10 days ago to go ahead in Western Australia, that got called off. And the reason is because the Italian FA and the Western Australian government received last-minute, unacceptable, according to them, financial requests from the AFC, the Asian Football Confederation, which basically is the UEFA of the Asia, on this game, and the financial reassurances were a sort of a waiver or a legal disclaimer that the AFC asked in case of potential damages, or if the game, Milan Como would have broken some of the protocols of the AFC. So basically, the AFC threatened the Australian FA sanctions had they violated the rules and protocols, and perhaps even the Australian national team could have faced point deductions into the next World Cup qualifiers. Hence, the request from the AFC was passed on to the Australian FA, and then the Western Australian government and the Italian FA. Because it was last minute, they were deemed unacceptable, and the game was called off.
I'll come back to you about the reactions to this in Italy itself, Daniele, but meanwhile in Italy, Andy, there's been a really important goal in the game at Atalanta, which might decide who's top at the new year in Italy.
Yeah, that's right. Finally, Lautaro Martinez has broken the deadlock for Inter. It's Atalanta 1-0 Inter 1. Lautaro, he always comes up with the goods at the right moment. It looked like it's going to be Marcus Thuram in the first half. He had a goal ruled out for offside in the build-up in the first half.
And he looks offside to me again there.
Yet, the man is out with the bag. And when I say the man is out with the bag, you know how they bag the ball with which goals are scored, so you can bid for it online.
Okay.
That is the moment that tells you it really is a goal.
Yeah, that's not marginal there.
Obviously, it's a spurious cash grab, although apparently some of the money does end up with charity. But I tell you what, it is very helpful in telling us whether it actually is a goal or not in this
Andy, just to go back to the bag, a few months ago I went to the website that sells these balls. Well, there are hundreds of balls unsold. So if you want to buy, the equalizer from Genoa Sassuolo of 2 years ago, you can find it for maybe €100, €200. Every sort of goal gets
Daniele, you're laughing, but in the back of my mind, I'm making notes. As soon as we finish at midnight, I'll be on that site buying
anything, Atalanta's fourth goal against Spezia 4 years ago.
Listen, thank you very much. Look, this game has been controversial because, of course, the fans of particularly Milan, because they've got people who watch every game home and away. What's been the reaction in Italy generally to the cancellation of this what turns out to be a cursed game?
And this is the disappointment of the Italian FA, Lega Serie A, AC Milan in terms of the club, as well as Como. Everyone else has rejoiced at the idea that the game was not going to be played in Perth. First of all, the Milan players, as well as Rabiot and Mike Maignan, have been very vocal against this game being scheduled in Australia. Max Allegri, who in the last few months said he would have much rather preferred to play what is going to be a key game for Milan, what is in the title race really at home. And of course, the fans of both Milan and Como. Como is only an hour away from Milan, from the San Siro, so obviously they would have relished the idea to go and have an opportunity and watch the team playing in Milan. But the authorities of the footballing authorities have been really, really disappointed because they had invested so much time and so many efforts, but perhaps they jumped the gun. They were over-optimistic because they did actually agree with the AFC that the referee for this game would have been an Asian one, perhaps bending the rules a little bit. But then the Italian FA demanded to move the entire VAR over to Australia, which would have taken 3 or 4 weeks. Bearing in mind that the Australian League has got VAR since a couple of years now, but the Italians wanted their own VAR. So, there's been a few sticking points, and of course a sense of disappointment, but probably that goes to show that sometimes when you have to deal with so many different footballing associations, it's not straightforward.
I think we can now announce officially the whole thing's been a farce and a waste of a lot of time, money and energy as well, emotional energy for fans. Daniele, during the rest of the programme, Andy and I will be reviewing the leagues around Europe and picking our stars of the year in various countries. On a personal level for you, who've been the stars of the year in Italian football in 2025?
The centre figure of Serie A last season, a player, I don't want to say single-handedly won the Scudetto, but had a very big part in it. You probably understand what I'm talking about. Scott McTominay, 12 goals in Serie A last season, Serie A MVP, best player in Serie A, voted by his colleagues and journalists, Ballon d'Or nominee, thanks to that, and a player that has embedded Italian culture, seems like he's been playing in Italy for a long time, and also has given to Napoli a different dimension, his strength, his physicality, the fact that a player that used to play in the Premier League comes to Italy, looks like a Rolls Royce, and he does really look great. This season, perhaps McTominay has not quite hit the peaks of last season, but he's still one of the centre figures of Napoli. So for me, he's definitely the star of the calendar year 2025.
That's fantastic. Andy, the odd thing here, and it just shows how a change of environment, change of culture
can be so influential for a person. The things that Daniele's talked about there, you could have said a lot of things. I've always liked Scott McTominay as a player, but as a goal scorer, he just was not what he did in Manchester.
Yeah, and you know what it is though? I think what Daniele was saying about everything he embraced in terms of the challenge, the club, the culture. But let's go back some years and think of some big players in the past, and I'm thinking of Corentin Tolisso, the World Cup winner, when he left Lyon the first time, before he went to Bayern Munich. He turned down Napoli because he was a bit scared of living in the city, and other players have been like that as well. And the fact that McTominay got out at the airport, he said, "Oh, I can't wait for this," and he kind of visibly rolled his sleeves up and said, "I'm looking forward to every aspect of this, the club, the pressure, the city, the mania, the life, all of it." And he's been good to his word. I think that's really important as well. And I think it's had a positive effect on him as well, not just raising his profile. But I heard someone saying the other day, what a glow-up McTominay's had since he's arrived in Napoli, how he's just, a Manchester United player, and all of a sudden he's leading man. He's gone from Liam Neeson to Leonardo DiCaprio.
Scotland qualified for the World Cup. It's not a coincidence either. Him and McGinn, people like that, have driven that project. Listen, thank you, Daniele. I won't attempt any Italian here, but just to say thank you for all your contributions in 2025. It's been great.
It's been fantastic, and looking forward to 2026 in your company, and it's been great, but the journey continues.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks, Daniele.
And looking forward, as we'll be discussing a little later, Daniele, to the prospect of Italy winning the World Cup in the United States. I know that feeling. Thanks very much indeed, Daniele. Meanwhile, of course, live sport for you over on talkSPORT 2, the PDC World Darts Championship. Alexander Palace is into its third week now. Watching for talkSPORT, of course, the marvellous Mark Wilson.
Yeah, day 15 here, Danny, and we're loving it. We've got an absolute cracker in prospect here because Luke Humphries, the former world champion, racing to a 3-0 lead over the German giant Gabriel Clemens, former semi-finalist here. Clemens looked done and dusted, but a couple of tough plus checkouts won him the fourth set, and he's just as you came to me, won the fifth set as well. There's a lot of German fans in here tonight, and they're roaring on their man. You can listen to it live over on talkSPORT 2. Race to 4, it's Humphries 3, Clemens 2.
BBC World Darts Championship update on talkSPORT with Village Hotels. Hit the bullseye this New Year's Eve. Party at one of our New Year's Eve events. 34 locations across the UK. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. More from Mark as the evening unfolds. You can hear live commentary after darts, as he said, over on talkSPORT 2, here on talkSPORT itself. Andy and I will continue our round of what's happening in various leagues, particularly as, with the exception of Italy, there's been no football in the other major European leagues, or if there has, it's already been finished. Next, we'll talk about what's gone on in 2025 in Germany.
Throw a red carpet down the drive, rope off your front gate, and tip off the paparazzi. Because with People's Postcode Lottery, you could have a VIP, a very important postcode. In our January draws, players in the winning postcode will each win £12,000 every month for 12 months. Sign up before midnight on the 31st of December for you and your neighbours' chance to win. Is your door in the draw? People's Postcode Lottery manage lotteries on behalf of good causes. 18 plus conditions apply. Play responsibly. Not available in Northern Ireland.
Service B, our most comprehensive service, is now available to Sprinter 906 owners for a fixed price of £263 plus 20% VAT at a time that suits you. Enjoy peace of mind with predictable costs and the knowledge that your van is in the hands of Mercedes-Benz trained technicians using only genuine parts. Visit our website or contact your local Mercedes-Benz dealer to check if your van is eligible. T&Cs apply. Only valid for Sprinter 906, any production 2018. Excludes petrol and V6 diesel engines. Covers labour and parts only, carried out by the 31st of December.
Love that feeling when a game just clicks? At Virgin Bet, you'll find all your favourites in one place. Classic casino games and hundreds of the most exciting slots. And it's a good bet you'll love our new member welcome offer. Just join, wager at least £10 on slots within 7 days of signing up, and get 100 free spins to get you started. Virgin Bet, a good bet. Use free spins on selected games in 7 days. Value varies. Terms and exclusions apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. GambleAware.org.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Booking Hero. On the beach, no door sure about that. But you can take your pick from over 50 cities and thousands of hotels. Stop booking around and visit onthebeach.co.uk. On the beach.
Changes in behaviour with loved ones could be a sign of dementia. Alzheimer's Society are here for vital support and information. It will take a society to beat dementia.
Sometimes being a football fan isn't easy. The heartbreak of losing the game in added time. The price of a half-time pie. How much? But fortunately, listening to Hawksby and Jacobs on talkSPORT is easy. This is Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs. Join us for all the latest sporting news and entertaining conversation. Don't miss all the latest formulas from Paddy Power. Weekday afternoons from 1 on talkSPORT. Check out our latest online-only petrol offers on the Paddy Power app or at paddypower.com. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus BMO.org.
It's your traditional Tuesday night of post-Christmas football on the talkSPORT network. From 7:30 onwards, Burnley take on Newcastle, Forest face Everton, and West Ham versus Brighton. All on the talkSPORT app. It's the Tuesday night post-Christmas Premier League party on the talkSPORT network.
Germany next, but worth noting the news broke in the last 24 hours that the great Edison Cavani, which played for some of the biggest clubs in world football, has announced his retirement from football. So as a result of that, our poll tonight is an X-Twitter poll. Is this: who was the best South American striker in their prime? And the 4 names we've given you are Edison Cavani himself, Gonzalo Higuain, Luis Suarez, and Radamel Falcao. So it's Cavani, Higuain, Suarez and Falcao, who in their prime was the best of those South American strikers. You can vote in that on X, on Twitter, at talkSPORT, at Danny Kelly Words, or at Andy Brassell, 2 S's and 2 L's. I think that's a tight one. Go and vote and have your say. So thank you for that. So then we return next to 2025 in Germany, and after a difficult 2024 for the Bayern Giants, it's fair to say that Bayern back in biz would be the kind of headline for 2025. An amazing season for Bayern Munich, Harry Kane, and it should be noted for some of the doubters when he went there, and I include myself in that, Vincent Kompany.
Yeah, I think so, and I think we really need to remind ourselves that a lot of people will say it's Harry Kane's year, and quite rightly so, on the field, because he's been brilliant, and it's not just been the goals, as we've said before. What I think puts him alongside some of the real, genuine greats of world football in the last 10 years is that the numbers are extraordinary, but the numbers don't really describe what Kane does for the team, does for the club. And I think
you would have to tell me, Andy, watching the current Bavaria of Spurs post-game.
Danny, I'm merely trying to make you cry here, as well as inform the listeners. So please.
This is revenge for the Trevi Fountain crack, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But I think it seems almost ridiculous to describe what he's done in terms of numbers, because really to arrive with not just doubts over whether he really was an elite European club player in some quarters, which I always found frankly ridiculous.
Ludicrous, yeah.
But that he was able to help Bayern fans and German football society really get over the fact that they paid such a lot of money for him. And that may not seem a big deal to Premier League fans or Premier League clubs, but trust me, in German terms, it was culturally shocking that Bayern went out there and did that, and that he has made that not a discussion, but much less of a discussion. I think is testament to how consistently brilliant he's been, what a leader he's been, what he does even on the rare occasions that he's not scoring, that he's a team leader, a club leader from the get-go. But I think even with the brilliance of Kane in mind, we have to say this is Kompany's year, because Kompany was genuinely 7th, 8th, 9th choice to get the Bayern job when we go back to the summer of 2024.
Incredible to think about now, but you're right, of course.
Yes, and he's managed to make Bayern completely untouchable again in the Bundesliga, and that hadn't been the case for a couple of years, despite the fact that, you know, you go back to say 2023 where Dortmund tripped over themselves literally on a final day to give the title to Bayern. the fact is that Bayern were on the turn for a while. Under coaches as big as Thomas Tuchel and Julian Nagelsmann, they really didn't look the part. And Kompany has gone in there and not just changed the team, but changed the culture, which is so difficult to do at a club like Bayern. And really, I guess it needed someone who has Kompany's temperament. It's not just really about the tactics, it's more about his demeanour. I mean, it was Nagelsmann himself who said that football coaching is 15% tactics and 85% social competence. Well, Kompany is that written bold. He is someone who has managed to take the drama out of Bayern Munich, which really seemed impossible, to quell the egos, to make everything function just a bit more normally.
And
that's amazing.
Shut up, Andy, the ex-Bayern legends, whether they're on the board or not, because that seems to be where all the heat comes from. Talk to me about who you might consider the contenders. We'll get on to the perennial issue of where are Dortmund in 1 second, but the ones we should be looking at, I suppose, are Leipzig and Leverkusen.
Yeah, I think so, and not just because they played each other to finish the Bundesliga for 2025 last weekend, but really because they are the two contender-ish teams, and certainly Champions League level teams, who have really had a complete revamp. So you look at Leipzig, they've changed upstairs, they've changed coach, they've changed a heck of a lot of players. Of course, Benjamin Šeško, one of the big exits this summer. In fact, they've spent the money pretty well on players like Jan Diomande, Johan Bakayoko, and they've looked really, really good so far this season, despite losing that last game to Leverkusen. Ali Werner has done a good job as the new coach. Now Leverkusen is completely different, and that is the one that I accept that people will be really interested in, because, of course, double winners, unbeaten under Xabi Alonso, and no big news when Xabi Alonso was there for obvious reasons, but because he pulled them above being a contender, and a club where, you know, there was sort of attractions in an elite level club, but not really the pressure, not really the sort of grandeur of, you know, some of even what we think of as middling clubs in Germany, like Hamburg and Borussia Mönchengladbach, who've struggled a little bit on the field in recent years. But I think really how much Alonso had changed the culture was clear from the drama of the start of the season, when Erik ten Hag went in there and everything went so incredibly badly and they had to get rid of him pretty quickly. I think that showed how the dimensions of the club and its expectation has changed.
We'll get on to Scotland in just a second. I just want to interrupt this. Forgive me, because I've thought take questions. The big dance match, the penultimate match of the night, the Ali Pally is over. Let's get a result and a report from Mark Wilson.
Yeah, look, Humphrey, former champion, is through by the skin of his teeth. He's beat the German giant David Cummins by 4 sets to 2. It should have been 3-3. Cummins was 3-0 down, got it back to 3-2. He missed 3 darts to level up at 3 sets apiece. Humphrey stepped in, it doubled 16 to level up the deciding set, and then checked out 81 with last night. Now, big scare for Humphreys, but he is through to the last 16 and plays the Nathan Aspinall, Kevin Dukes. Coming up next, former 3-time champion Michael van Gerwen takes on the German qualifier Arno Mo. That'll be live over on talkSPORT 2, but Humphreys has beaten Clemens by 4 sets to 2. BBC Well Done Championship Update on talkSPORT with Village Hotels. Hit the bullseye this New Year's Eve. Party at one of our New Year's Eve events. There's more locations across the UK. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Andy, we are going to, as we go around each of these leagues, just pick on a story where we kind of wonder, what the hell's happened to? And this one is unfortunate because it was a lot of injury. But what does the 2026 hold for Victor Boniface? On his day, one of the best strikers in Europe.
Yeah, and a huge part of that Xabi Alonso double winning team. Now, it was kind of fairy tale when he made it as a double winner in Germany, because go back to his time in Norway, he was in 2 cruciate knee ligament injuries that looked like they might dim his potential. And then, after coming through in Belgium at Union Saint-Gilloise, he was really smashing it in the Bundesliga and the Champions League for a bit. It slowed up a little bit last season. If you think at the start of 2025, they tried to sell him to the Saudi Pro League. That fell through when it turned out he was only the backup option for Ivan Toney, and Ivan Toney went in instead. And that felt like a sliding doors moment for both the club and player, really. Now, they loan him because they don't really feel that the fitness is there to Werder Bremen for this season. And we're at the point where he started 2 Bundesliga games and he's not played a whole 90 minutes yet. So he was advised by Leverkusen to go and get knee surgery to sort himself out and, in the words of Bill, prolong his elite level career or save his elite level career. And the conservative treatment obviously hasn't worked. Bremen and Leverkusen are talking about it again. Bear in mind, he's only just turned 25. But for someone who's got the gifts that he has, the strength he has, the wit he has on the ball, as well as being such a good finisher, I think it would be a real shame if he wasn't able to get back to the level. So I really hope, regardless of what it means for Leverkusen in terms of money, that Boniface gets back to the level that he's capable of, that he does get the right treatment, that he does make the right medical decisions, and we see him back in action sooner rather than later.
Obviously, talent denied by injuries, a pet peeve in professional football.
It's the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to choose in each of these leagues our star of the year, and mine is not a player but a manager, and a wonderfully named Merlin Poltzin. And of course, just 35 years of age, and a local man who took over when Hamburg was still bouncing their head off the glass ceiling of getting out after all those years, and of course they're a major club, out of the second tier. He was appointed as a temporary coach, did so well there that he was given the job permanently, got them promoted, and I think it's fair to say, Andy, they look like a perfectly well-established mid-table Bundesliga team already. The Bundesliga, Hamburg obviously needs to be at the top level. The Bundesliga needs those big clubs in the real north of Germany as well. So what Merlin Poltzin has done there is in stark contrast to some of the biggest coaching names in German football who in the previous decade had failed to get similar results at Hamburg. He's my star of the year. Who is yours?
Well, mine was going to be Michael Elise, because I think he's gone from...
Because you love him.
I do love him, and he's gone from great player to superstar level this year, and I think 2026 is going to be his year for Bayern and France. But the story that's emerged this evening that I wanted to recognise in Star of the Year, do you remember Rory's holy goal machine, Ailton, who scored all those goals for Werder Bremen when they won the double, a bit like Leverkusen unexpected in 2003-2004. It turns out that he's finally got his Bundesliga top scorer trophy back. You may remember from Harry Kane receiving his that it's a very fetching sort of little cannon ornament.
How very unlikely for Harry, but there you are.
A lot of amusement on social media when he received that. But Ailton had it nicked off him by his previous agent, who said that he owed him money, and then tried to put it on eBay, where before Ailton got the bidding stopped on that, it reached €600,000. Now, it passed to another agent. That debt apparently passed to the new agent as well. Ailton has been pictured on Instagram today with the trophy. He's got it back. He says, I'm never going to let it go again. And neither am I going to say how much I paid for it.
Well, wonderful. Thank you very, very much indeed. Coming up next, we'll be looking at what happened in 2025 in France, which ends with, astonishingly, a three-way title race.
When it comes to sports betting, it's important to cool off and play safe. Set deposit limits to control your spending. Set timeouts when you need a break. And set reality checks to know how long you've been playing. Showtime ain't always go time. Stay safe, players, at BetMGM.
18 plus, please gamble responsibly. There once was a woman who lived in a size 2 snug, but what could she do? But that's not where her story ends. Thanks to a little help from her experienced friends, she got her score into much better shape and relocated to a box-fresh new place with room to grow and a mortgage to suit. Now, she lives in a spacious 4-bedroom cowboy booth. Better your Experian credit score to help get mortgage ready. Experian. Better your score, better your story.
Picture this, a new, more rewarding William Hill Vegas app. You hear that? That's Jackpot Drop giving you more chances to win across more of your favourite games. That's everyone playing 10 new free spins every month. Easily find the games you love, and we'll recommend the games you will love. Cheap yourself. William Hill, Vegas as it should be. Download the app.
anyone when it comes to ignoring things. Road grey hairs, red flags in relationships, or that service reminder on your car dash. Luckily, that one's easy. Visit Cinch for flat-free servicing at over 100 locations. Any car, whether you bought it from Cinch or not. With MOTs $39.95 and servicing from only $129.95. To book your service or buy your next car, visit cinch.co.uk. See cinch.co.uk/servicing for details, terms and exclusions apply.
Ready to switch your play? LiveScore Vegas is your go-to destination. Explore a huge selection of top-tier slots and live casino games. And for new players, there's a special welcome. Play £10 on slots and unlock 100 free spins on King Kong Cash. Even bigger bananas, Jackpot King. Step straight into the action. Search LiveScore Vegas today. New customers only. Wait 7 days of sign up. 10 pence spin value. Valid 3 days. T&Cs and deposit exclusions apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. Gambleaware.org.
Coming soon, the 2026 FIFA World Cup, live on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2. 48 teams, 39 days, 3 host countries, 1 summer of unbelievable, unbeatable sporting drama.
It's a world-class free hit from a world-class player.
Unrivaled kid-by-kid commentary of every single game across the entire tournament.
Comes to the front post, hits the post, and it's gone in!
The 2026 FIFA World Cup starts this June on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2.
From the Bundesliga to the Dutch First Division, Space is good, yeah.
26K for 2026 on talkSPORT.
Yeah, talkSPORT's already looking ahead to an exciting year of 2026 and that will bring, and we're giving you the chance to win a massive £26,000. What better way to kick off 2026 with some serious cash? Yep, 26 grand. It's our biggest New Year cash giveaway, and it could be yours rather. So it's 26k for 2026, and here's how to enter. For your chance to win, text WIN, W-I-N, to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0345 423 9761. Lines close at 12 p.m. on the 9th of January 2026. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. It's UK residents only and 18 plus. This is a network promotion, and the full T's and C's are at talksport.com/win. So for your chance to win, just text that word WIN to 83338. Do it now, and good luck everyone. Andy, it's a talkSPORT tradition to smash very quickly through France. And here we are doing it again. It would be churlish not to say it's been a great year for Paris Saint-Germain. Of course, European champions for the first time. But at the end of 2025, we can safely say that there's an actual living, breathing, and real title race in that country.
Yeah, and arguably you could say this is the best thing to come out of 2025 for French football. Now, part of that obviously owes to everything PSG put into the first half of the year. The fact that they did play every game possible last year, the fact that they did play the Super Cup final after being back in training for less than a week, all those other things that have made injuries and little hold-ups more predictable and pulled them towards the pack. But I think with all of these mega clubs who tend to dominate your domestic leagues, if they do have a little slip, you have to have teams who are good enough, who are ready to receive the opportunity. Marseille have been that for a lot this season, and Lens increasingly in recent weeks have been that. Lens, of course, remarkably lead the league for the first time in 21 years, but they've stayed there. And remember, 21 years ago, in August 2004, who cares who's top in August? That doesn't even make any difference to anyone, really. Whereas this is the real deal. Then going into the winter break, top of the league, on probably about the 10th, 11th budget in the league, is an extraordinary effort by them. And it's really good for the league.
Yeah, and the other thing I think that might be good for the league, you'll explain more, is the end, well, hopefully, to the chaos surrounding over the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years of French football, of their on-off, good, bad, destructive TV deals, because Ligue 1 have become the first of the big leagues in Europe to do what I think they all end up doing, which is to take control of their own television rights and to be the actual conduit by which people see their live football.
Yeah, they have. Look, there's been a strong feeling in a lot of places that leagues, including the Premier League, should do it, should really be master of their own televisual destiny, if you like. But the fact is, France and Ligue 1 have been forced into this by decreasing returns from rights, really, and decreasing reliability in their television partners, really, has driven them to this point. Now, look, Ligue 1 Plus has done okay, actually. This is basically where you go on the Ligue 1 website and you buy for like €10 a month or well, it's £10 a month in the UK, rights to watch all the live games. And there's been, I think, a pleasant surprise at the amount of take-up at the first bit of the season. It has hit a bit of a mini ceiling for the moment, so it was 1.08 million at the moment. They're hoping to reach 1.15 at the halfway stage, so it's decent. They're hoping to reach 2.25 million subscribers by the end of the fourth season. But of course, this is a long time to go without any TV money up front. So quite how sustainable this is the question. And I guess, like you were saying, for a lot of other European countries, France is kind of a guinea pig, really, because all the French clubs at the start of the season were told, in your budgets for the season, you're not allowed to include any TV money. In this day and age, you know, big business likes certainty, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, but they couldn't carry on as they were. And Andy, in our oh my gosh, mon Dieu, what's happened to them section in France, I don't know if you have to look very far beyond Nice. It wasn't like Jim Ratcliffe was leading them to world glory before he took over Manchester United, but now, I'm not going to call it neglect, because that's probably illegal, but a lack of focus has sent Nice into a big tailspin.
I don't know if it is illegal, if it's this obvious. I mean, it's definitely gone from disinterest.
I'm trying to save your job, Andy.
Well, I don't know. Can you say, in terms of, I'd rather get it right grammar-wise, and I'm not sure you can find a level below disinterest without going to the neglect.
The end of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult. But look, I think it's had a really damaging effect for the club. It's been very poorly managed, and of course that antipathy has really affected matters on the pitch. They've had a coach who is one of the best coaches in Ligue 1 over recent years, Francaise, and it's got to such a stage where, you know, they've had 7 successive defeats in Ligue 1. The season it seems too early in the season really for that to be possible. And then you look at the fact that they've not won for 18 games in a row in European competition, which obviously was meant to prop them up financially. The fact that they've devalued a lot of their players, they've been, you know, almost open warfare with the fans, which has pushed a lot of those players to the edge. And now Francaise, one of the best coaches in recent years in France, like I said, he's gone. He's going to be replaced by Claude Puel, who left under a massive cloud going back to 2016 and has not coached anyone since 2021. So good luck with that.
My star of the week in France, a familiar name to Premier League followers, although from some time ago, Florian Thauvin. He's still only 32 years of age, but he's at Lens these days, having had a couple of rough years in the sort of outlier expensive league that is Mexico. But he's come back to France, and with Lens, he has been so good this year. He's got them to the top place, as Andy mentioned it, by Christmas, and now into the new year. It's not just his goals and assists, he's obviously a great leader as well of that team. And so much so that in the most competitive sport on earth, getting into the French World Cup squad, he's now got a decent chance of making it. It was in their most recent selection. So Florian Thauvin is my star of the year in France. Who is yours, Andy?
Rather obviously, I've gone for Michel Cain, the chair of Lyon, succeeding John Textor. And I think succeeding John Textor really tells you everything about how brilliant she's been. She's become a very influential figure in French football already, because she was already in charge of the very successful Lyon, as they're now called, women's team. But now she's taken the men's team as well, and after saving them from administrative relegation, has really assembled a team on buttons that has got them into a reasonable place. And with her actually getting Endrick to come and join the club for 6 months, as we might talk about later, and really push towards those Champions League places.
Thank you very much indeed. Next up, 2025 in Italy, including new leaders in the last 5 minutes. You're listening to Trans Europe Express.
Service B, our most comprehensive service, is now available to Sprinter 906 owners for a fixed price of £263 plus 20% VAT at a time that suits you. Enjoy peace of mind with predictable costs and the knowledge that your van is in the hands of Mercedes-Benz trained technicians using only genuine parts. Visit our website or contact your local Mercedes-Benz dealer to check if your van is eligible. T's and C's apply. Only valid for Sprinter 906, any production 2018. Excludes petrol and V6 diesel engines. Covers labour and parts only carried out by the 31st of December.
Ready to switch your play? LiveScore Vegas is your go-to destination. Explore a huge selection of top-tier slots and live casino games. And for new players, there's a special welcome. Play £10 on slots and unlock 100 free spins on King Kong Cash. Even bigger bananas, Jackpot King. Step straight into the action and search LiveScore Vegas today. New customers only. Waited in 7 days of sign-up. 10 pence spin value. Valid 3 days. T&Cs and deposit exclusions apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. Gambleaware.org.
This Christmas at Tesco, get a 1 litre bottle of Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey for just £20, down from £34.50 with your Tesco Club card. Tesco, every little helps. Drink aware 18 plus, majority of larger stores, ends 31st of December. Club card or app required.
Get that Euro Millions feeling this Friday. 10 UK winners are guaranteed to be millionaires. That's 10 more reasons to celebrate. Not a bad way to start the new year. Euro Millions from the National Lottery. Play on app. Account terms, rules and procedures. Players must be 18 or over.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Booking geniuses. Get free airport lounge access when you book a 5-star holiday with On the Beach. Feet up, fill your boots. Una drink, por favor. On the Beach. Book it now.
Conditions apply. 7 night minimum stay and about every visa available for up to 6 people, subject to lounge availability after at all protected.
On the Beach.
Calling all spinners. Join Sky Vegas, the online casino, where we offer new players 50 free spins to use in your first 7 days, and 200 more when you spend £10 within 30 days, all with no wagering required. You love a good spin? We love a good spin. Sky Vegas. Play. It's why we're here. 18 plus free spins loaded on first eligible game. Game eligibility restrictions and further T's and C's apply. BeGambleAware.org.
talkSPORT is a stunning season of unmissable live football.
What a goal that is!
More live football on your radio. Over 500 unmissable fixtures on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2.
Yeah, we're really rumbling through these roundups of the 2025 year in various countries. We're also looking forward later in the show to what may happen in 2026 in both the Champions League and the World Cup. I'm Daniel Kelly, he's Andy Brassell. And Andy, before we look at what happened in Italy throughout the year of 2025, we have new leaders, yet again, changes every 20 minutes at the top of Serie A.
Yeah, we do, and that's why we all love it in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
since Juventus' dominance was broken into the top, full time Atalanta 0 into 1, and really it felt like one of those games, even though Inter had the upper hand, where it was going to take a mistake for them to open the score, and that's exactly what happened. Midway through the second half, Atalanta's most experienced defender, Benatia Shiti, didn't look, playing a sideways ball, and it ended up falling to Lautaro Martinez onto the left foot, smashed it into the far corner. 1-0 for Inter. They had that goal from Marcus Thuram disallowed in the first half. Few little scrapes towards the end, not least the disallowed goal by Gianluca Scamacca, the former West Ham striker. It was clearly offside, but nevertheless a little flutter for Inter. They are back on top of the table.
That said, I think the Italian team we have to talk about in 2025 is definitely Daniele Fisichella presaged this with his praise for Scott McTominay, but we must talk about the way Napoli have gone about their business this year. You know that I've had my problems because of his tenure at Spurs with Antonio Conte, but it's all credit to him and to his players what they've done this year.
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, he took them over in 2024 after one of the feeblest title defences that we can remember in recent times. They got through 4 coaches and everything that could go wrong did go wrong. They finished 10th, and it's very hard to completely avoid European qualification in Serie A these days, but that's what they managed to do in that 4-coach
Huge
season.
for Antonio, that, of course. He loves that.
He does love that. I mean, it set the ground for him, but still, I think even if we say that Conte only takes a job under certain conditions, that he's, you know, maybe a 1-game-a-week coach, whatever else we want to say, pulling Napoli up from where they were, and post-Osimhen, post-Kvaratskhelia, of course he only had half season of Kvaratskhelia as well, he did do a remarkable job, and we look at them at the end of this calendar year, they're really close at the top, they're very much in the title race, even though they're in 3rd place, 2 points behind the leaders, which is already a much better defence than last time. And considering they've had a few little bits of friction, not everything's gone the way they've wanted in the Champions League, and would it be Conte if it had, I suppose you could ask. You know, they've ended this calendar year with a win at Cremonese today, 2 goals from Rasmus Højlund, another player who they're knocking into great shape. Remember, still only 22, and a player is there, there's no doubt about that. And also, he played a massive part in them winning the Super Cup, as they did out in Saudi, beating Bologna in the final, of course, having beaten Milan very comprehensively in the semi, which we talked about last week. Another trophy for them. And Conte had this to say, actually, after the game. He said, "We celebrate a wonderful year where, in my view, we did something truly unexpected and extraordinary with the Scudetto, then capped it off with the Supercoppa. It was such a great calendar year, full of satisfaction, and the celebrations in Naples are truly different to other places." Then, of course, he goes on about, we're facing numerous problems this season. He's actually not fibbing. They've got a ton of injuries at the moment, but nevertheless, they found solutions, at least domestically. We talked about how great it is to have a title race in France. We always have a title race in Italy, but I think it's going to be a huge title race in Italy this season with a few proper contenders.
Well, the team deposed from the top of the table by Inter in the last few minutes is their neighbours Milan, AC Milan. They won 3-0 Verona this weekend. They're getting, you know, players that they have loaned starting to get up to speed. Christopher Nkunku played and scored twice. They're getting more reinforcements in. Nicholas Füllkrug, yet another forward, undestroyed now, unable to make an impression at West Ham, and was in the stands. But the big news for them, I guess, Andy, is that their talisman and great goalkeeper, Mike Maignan, looks like he's going to escape the clutches of the Premier League.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge for them. He's out of contract at the end of the season, very close to joining Chelsea last summer, of course. And someone we talked about, players who you can't just quantify in statistics with Harry Kane. That's the same with Mike Maignan, a real leader for club and country. They desperately need him, and they're offering him a big wage. If he meets some easily attainable bonuses in terms of appearances, he should be up there by the terms of this contract, level with Rafael Leao as the top earner, around about the 7 million net mark, which is exactly what he wanted. I think he always wanted to stay. He just wanted to make sure he's correctly remunerated for doing so, which is fair enough. But the Nkunku thing is interesting, because when we're talking about money, you said loan, Dan, he's actually a permanent transfer.
Sorry, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. No, I think we have to talk about that, and you're right to restate that, because they paid 37 million euros for him, which is a hell of a lot of money for an Italian club at the moment. And you know what? Those 2 goals today was first Serie A goals. So he desperately needed those. Now, Max Allegri kind of predicted it before kick-off. He said, look, there's a lot of speculation around him, because speculation that Milan were trying to get rid of him already. But he said, he's a great guy, he's working really hard for us, and I think the breakthrough is going to come today. And it turns out Uncle Max was right.
So, in our slot of, on the other hand, there is, it's not an exaggeration. I'm prone to exaggeration, as you know, I've said it millions of times. I'm prone to exaggeration, but it is not such to describe Fiorentina's campaign as a disaster.
It absolutely is, and they finally got off the mark last week with a win against Udinese. 5-1, so I think from a distance it looks quite spectacular, and you're reminded of the fact that they've got good players. We have to say, in that game, Udinese went down to 10 men, the goalkeeper was sent off after like 7 minutes, so that clearly had an effect on it. I watched the game yesterday at Parma, and they were thoroughly awful. Deserved to lose by more than one goal, they did. And even though they've already been through a coach, the previously very successful Stefano Pioli, who had great credit in the bank, not just on a sporting level, but on a human level in Florence. It went so badly in the first 10 games of the season that to get rid of him. They've gone to Paolo Danoli. Performances haven't really improved. And of course, what better guy to sort that out than a new sporting director, Dan?
Yeah. Who signed a contract at Spurs 10 weeks ago and is now required to turn around. He's been offered apparently, forget about the money, he's been offered tremendous power at Fiorentina, but Fabio Paratici, I mean, to be fair, Andy, I always thought it was odd that Spurs had 2 sporting directors, and don't forget he was a Daniel Levy man. So I'm not that surprised that he's off, although maybe Spurs had a little bit of a mess at the start of the transfer window. But it does seem odd that you're relying on a sporting director to turn around problems that are evident on the field just now. But you know, that's what I mean. That's where Fiorentina are.
Yeah, I think so. It looks like he might start that by getting rid of Vanoli. And of course, they've still got Stefano Pioli under contract, so they might even try and persuade him to come back. Thiago Motta has been mentioned.
Yes, that would be literally that move, getting your old manager back and come to a big stamp saying made in Italy, wouldn't it?
It would.
Fabrico Italia, yeah.
It would. And the other thing we have to say is, it's not just very Italian, but very Florentine, is that idea of the sporting director having a lot of power. So we go back to Daniele Paolo, we go back to Pantaleo Corvino back in the day. They've really got a history in Florence of the sporting director being powerful, pulling the strings, shaping the squad and making them successful. And success at the moment could just be avoiding relegation.
Listen, because Daniele chose his Italian football class of the year, it's got Tommy. We'll just do stars of the week because there has been football. This is a name, wow, writ large in Italian and world football history. But my star of the week is Louis Buffon, the son of Gigi Buffon, the legendary Italian goalkeeper. He came on as a sub for Pisa against Juventus yesterday. It was absolutely huge. He's a goalkeeper himself. His mum was there, taking all the photographs, crying and all the rest of it. Now, I mention that because she's important in this story, because Mrs. Buffon is Czech, and Louis himself has declared for Czechia at an international level. So we're 1 or 2 international goalkeeper injuries for Czechia away from him playing against the Republic of Ireland in the World Cup qualifiers in the early part of the new year. I don't think I'd want to face a Buffon in those games. Who is your star of the week in Italy, Andy?
Well, as the Englishman are taking over Serie A, I've gone for Keenan Davis of Udinese. He's been there.
You're not including Scott McTominay now.
No, I'm not. He's had his moment. But I think Keenan Davis is really interesting because, of course, he was at Villa, he was at Watford, and then obviously he was going to end up at Udinese for a bit, but he stayed. He's steadily improved. They're being propelled by a very, very good Nicola Taniolo at the moment, but they were losing going into the final seconds against Lazio yesterday, and Davis is having his best season at Udinese so far, already up to 5 goals, with a fantastic equaliser in those final seconds to get them a point against Maurizio Sarri's side.
Listen, thank you very much indeed. More from Andy and I in the next couple of hours. We continue to review and preview this year and next, but the live sport continues over on talkSPORT 2. You can hear the last big match of the night at the PTC World Darts Championship in North London. Watching for talkSPORT, Ian Danton.
Three-time world champion Michael van Gerwen currently on the hockey, the number 3 seed, has already taken the first set against the man making his debut at these championships, Arno Merck from Germany, who did dispatch Peter Wright, a former world champion, 3 sets to 0 in the last round. He's very nearly taken the first leg of the second set with a 150 out shot. But Van Gerwen, who looked neat and tidy in the first set, has just pinned the first leg of the second set with double A. Wins tonight for Kian Van Veen, the World Youth Champion, and former World Champion Luke Humphries, who struggled against Gabriel Clements. And as you mentioned, Danny, all the rest of the action from tonight's game is on talkSPORT 2, the talkSPORT app, and the talkSPORT Darts YouTube page.
BBC World Darts Championship update on talkSPORT with Village Hotels. Hit the bullseye this New Year's Eve. Party at one of our New Year's Eve events. 34 locations across the UK. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Yeah, we've rocked through that first hour. Thanks for being with us. We know you can be doing much better things in this strange period between Christmas and the New Year. But Andy and I will do our best to entertain and inform you going forward. It's still 2 hours to go here on Trans-Europe Express. And we'll be back very soon after we get some news and sport headlines for you.
Sometimes being a football fan isn't easy. The agony of being 3-0 down with only 10 minutes left to play. Or having to have your lucky pants washed and ironed every single Saturday. But fortunately, listening to Drive on talkSPORT is easy.
This is Andy Goldstein, and this is the radio phenomenon they call talkSPORT.
Don't miss all the latest Formula Odds from Paddy Power. Weekday afternoons from 4 on talkSPORT. Check out our latest online-only Pepco offers on the Paddy Power app or at paddypower.com. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus BWA.org.
'Tis the season once more for TrustFord's winter sale. With a wide range of used cars and vans you'll love without fail. There's Pumas and Cougars, Transits, Rangers and more, with great deals across 3,000 vehicles to help your savings soar. So explore our range of offers for a vehicle that feels right, with comfort and tech to brighten your night. TrustFord's winter sale won't last. Don't delay. With TrustFord now, you can drive away today. Visit your local TrustFord dealership or visit online at trustford.co.uk.
With Betfred, when you bet £10, you get £50 in free bets. So, want to back your new striker to score the first goal? Your midfield maestro to get the assist? Want to say there'll be a header? Want to see their striker caught offside? He was falling offside. Want to predict the final score? Or both teams to score? Want to get involved for 90 minutes? Want to nick in extra time? Want to bet £10 and get £50 in free bets? Want to bet? Betfred. New online customers only. 5 £10 free bets. Season exclusions applied. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
I'm Linda, proud mum of Team GB's Emily Campbell. I know from watching my daughter through the years, the slog of training can get ugly. That's why Quaker is the perfect sponsor for Team GB. Because even though their porridge looks flipping ugly, it's the ugly stuff, the real stuff, that fuels us. Quaker, deliciously real, deliciously ugly, sponsor of Team GB.
Yeah, what's this? A massive winter sale at Go Outdoors. Up to 50% off, with huge savings on more kit than ever. And top brands like Ram, Berghaus, Mountain Equipment, and Peter Storm. Belting! With your membership £5, T's and C's apply. Go Outdoors, discover freedom!
Play Final One Standing by William Hill. It's free to play, with a new league kicking off every Premier League match week. Enter and make your first pick before the start of the first round, and pick a new team before each following round. You can only pick each team once, and if you're the final one standing, then the jackpot is yours. Final One Standing by William Hill, football's ultimate elimination game. 18 plus, runs EPL season, one active league at a time with best price on £100,000 or more. Minimum price £1,000. Prices vary and the price for weekly days. Price split for all the same. Pay within 48 hours. Online for T's and C's at williamhill.com. Play responsibly.
On 1089 and 1053 on the wave. Online, on your mobile, on the app, and on your smart speaker.
Home of the festive 50. 50 games of football this December.
talkSPORT. talkSPORT.
Yeah, coming up in the second hour of tonight's Trans-Europe Express, we'll have a year in the life of Kylian Mbappe. Everything's happened in Spain in the last 12 months, plus looking forward to 2026 with a preview of what might happen in the Champions League and in the upcoming World Cup, now just 6 months away. For that, though, we should get some news and sport headlines for you, and they come from Steve Forbes.
Cheers, Danny. Good evening. A first senior goal for Archie Gray helped Spurs to a 1-0 win over Palace at Selhurst Park. He's told us what it meant to him.
You know, the win is obviously the most important thing, but you know, the feeling of scoring a goal, I thought I had one against Leicester, which, you know, obviously got ruled against me, but it's the best feeling in the game. Something that you've worked for since a child, especially in the Premier League. It's a proud moment.
Well, Dominic FA Cup at Lewin's Purple Patch continued at the Stadium of Light as Leeds grabbed a 1-0 draw against Sunderland. Daniel Farkas insisted the games won't get any easier with Liverpool up next.
To this situation because busy period and so key players like Daniel James, Sean suffer out. I fear that Joe Roden will also probably miss these games, and plus even the upcoming games doesn't look too good after the game.
We understand that West Ham will consider changing manager for a third time this season if their form doesn't improve quickly. The Hammers are rooted in the bottom three, and Nuno's only won 2 of his 13 games since replacing Graham Potter in September. Meanwhile, Darren Moore's been sacked by Port Vale, who are 10 points from safety in League One. In tennis, Nick Kyrgios beat women's world #1 Arina Sabalenka in straight sets in the dubbed Battle of the Sexes exhibition match in Dubai. And Luke Humphrey survived a comeback from Gabriel Clemens to reach the last 16 of the world darts with a 4-2 victory. Michael van Gerwen's up now, winning the opening set against Arno Merck. It's live over on talkSPORT 2 and on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. talkSPORT News. Donald Trump's hosting his Ukrainian counterpart in Florida for talks on a peace plan to end the war with Russia. And French President Emmanuel Macron's called Bridget Bardot a legend of the century. The film star in 1960 Sex Symbols died at age 91.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, your go-to destination for quality tyres from great brands like Continental. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Dry and settled overnight, but cloudy for most. A few breaks in Northern Ireland and Southern England.
Internationale Fußball-Elektrifizierung.
De la Liga à la Super League grecque. From Juventus to Utrecht.
This is my favourite part of the show.
Trans Euro Express on talkSPORT.
Yeah, welcome back to second hour 3. It's nice edition of Trans Europe Express, your last Trans Europe Express of the year 2025, which is why we're kind of both looking back at what happened in the big leagues, picking our stars of the year in some of those leagues, and looking forward to the big tournaments coming up in the next few months, including the Champions League and the World Cup, which Andy and I will get stuck into in about half an hour's time. I'm Danny Kelly. With me, as I say, is Andy Brassell, but most important, and I say this without trying to be eggy, is you, the listeners, because while Andy and I will probably be on the phone talking to each other about these matters anyway, it is your presence that renders it both meaningful and, frankly, remunerative as well. So thank you very much for listening in. Welcome once again, everyone, to Trans Europe Express. Okay, Andy, let's just tell people we will be looking back on 2025 in Spain. And as I say, we'll also be looking forward to the Champions League, what might happen, and also to the World Cup in in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. First, though, it's time for the last time this year for this.
Paris Saint-Germain, Mbappé! Little give and go. Mbappe's in. Oh, it's 2-2. He scored twice into it. De qui Mbappé? Allez,
Andy, we use Mbappe Watch to really to keep a focus on Real Madrid and what they're doing, because there's never a moment without drama. And anyway, I was following the putative court case between their former nutritionist and themselves, where she says she was told to stay in her office and not try to mess around with the players. It's an amazing club to follow. But what is true is that Kylian Mbappe, without ever being the most popular player to pull on that shirt, had an amazing 12 months. He has turned dross into diamonds in some ways, with no less than count them. I know you're laughing because we wrote a more Anglo-Saxon headline. But he has turned it into that with 59, count them, 59 goals.
Yeah, that's right. Equaling Cristiano Ronaldo's calendar year record in that last game of 2025 against Sevilla. I suppose it's, in one way, a sign of his renaissance. But in another way, it's maybe a bit of a knock on the way it's gone through at Real Madrid so far, because it feels like a lot of personal excellence, but not yet any tangible team reward for that. Now, whether that changes in 2026, we'll wait and see. But last season, of course, the numbers were very, very respectable, but Real Madrid were a long way off it in terms of what they actually wanted to do.
Not helped by a terrible rush of defensive injuries, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, which have come back to bite them again this season. But it's felt a lot more, and we'll come on to talk about Xabi Alonso and how he's done so far in a little minute in his first half year at Madrid. But it feels really as if Kylian Mbappe has grown into the superhero costume, that he has spent a lot of the second half of 2025, partly due to the fact he's gotten so unbelievably fit in the summer, propping up this team, which is maybe not desirable from a Real Madrid perspective, but in terms of our superstars are working well perspective, he's pretty satisfying.
Regular listeners will know that Andy, who's an absolute, obviously he's the world expert on football, he's also a world expert on basketball, but a little bit behind in his learning about American football, which I know a lot about. Indeed, I've presented on TV and stuff like that. So Andy, the game that's on at the moment, the New York Giants against the Las Vegas Raiders, on the pitch, the Giants are beating the Raiders reasonably happily. But that, of course, means they're losing overall, because these are the two worst teams statistically in the NFL this year. So what they're playing for is the losers are likely to end up with the worst record of the year, so they will get first choice in the draft coming up. It is better to lose this game in the long run than it is to win it. Now, whether you can convince the home fans of that is a separate issue. But there was a time a few years ago when the great college quarterback was a man called Andrew Luck. There was a whole load of teams who wanted Andrew Luck, but could only get him because he was going to...
So they wanted to suck for luck.
There's the exact phrase people use. You have to suck for luck. I'm not sure I'm not sure who they're trying to get here, but at the moment the Raiders are winning by losing at home. Put it that way. In contrast, and perhaps you can only have so much glory at any club, to the fortunes of Mbappe improving at Real Madrid. Vinicius was their absolute number one superstar and hero even as recently as 12 months ago, and that is now all up in the air.
Yeah, and maybe it was always going to be the case that as Mbappe's status rose, Vinicius Junior's status would decline. I don't think through any sense of disrespect, but that's what Real Madrid has always been about. Superstar equilibrium, not everyone being equal. Bear in mind, when you go back to the first Galacticos era of Florentino Perez, while you had guys like Figo and Beckham and Zidane and Ronaldo Nazario earning the earth, you also needed guys like Raul Bravo and Ruben to earn 150k a year just to, as Emilio Butragueño once said to me, to really tell the superstars what Real Madrid was about. But what that actually then is financially balance the fact that we're spending a ridiculous amount on 4 players. Yeah, exactly. So, it's never really been about quality, which is part of the issue with what Xabi Alonso is trying to do there. But I think in terms of Vinicius, he is the player that it was always talked about as if it was some tactical conundrum. How could you fit these guys in the same team? Because Mbappe liked to cut in from the left, and that was Vinicius' best position. Look, they were always going to work it out tactically. How they've not worked it out is ego-wise. That has been the biggest problem. And, I think Real Madrid tried to make Vinny feel like he was special by backing him not just to the hill, but way, way, way beyond, really to the knuckle in terms of his Ballon d'Or candidacy. But it feels that he struggled to get over that, and then he struggled to get over the subsequent loss of status. Now, it was interesting as Roman Planes, who used to work at Barcelona, and now Ramon Planes, he's the director of football at Al Ittihad. He came out in the last day or so and said, look, the Saudi Pro League needs more superstars, but we need superstars not just at the back end of their career, but players who are in the prime years of their career, like Vinny. And when he said like Vinny, he didn't mean like Vinny, no. He meant Vinny, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's maybe done him a favour in terms of his negotiation with Real Madrid, although the relationship that he's got with the Real Madrid crowd at the moment is a very uncomfortable one, arguably more uncomfortable than anything that Cristiano Ronaldo intermittently went through. Look, everyone who's anyone has been booed by Real Madrid fans whilst being a Real Madrid player. But at the moment, it's a feeling that's building, and it's a real concern. There's no doubt that they need to do something about it. Not necessarily contractually, because of course they've got a year and a half to go. That would seem a short time at any other club. But Real Madrid have always been happy to let contracts run down because they back themselves and their pulling power that they believe is beyond any other club in world football to be able to hold on to a player right in the back end of his contract. But I think the pressure is not just coming from one place, it's not just coming from a financial place, it's coming from a status place as well. And I think there are a lot of considerations when we try and work out what the club are going to do next in this situation, what the players are going to do next.
And at the risk of being a ghoul and trying to sort of commentating on a man walking a plank, what does Xabi Alonso's 2026 look like to you, Andy?
Well, it's pretty clear. Win the Champions League will be gone, I think. Or win the Champions League and maybe it still will be gone. I don't know. Look, I think the most important thing, Xabi Alonso is not going to be the coach of Real Madrid for 5 years. I don't think that is even possible with the way that he wants to do it. Now, if you think of someone who is the antithesis of polishing premium superstar egos, another coach who, despite being stylistically very different from Xabi Alonso, previous Real Madrid coaches like that, is Jose Mourinho, of course. Now, he took the completely different approach to this, the fight fire with fire. Not the my way or the highway so much as you take me on, if you come in with your tank, I'm going to come on with a whole Imperial Starfleet tomorrow. You know, that was his view. Whereas Alonso is not like that. He always hopes that common sense and reasonableness and us all being adults will out. Now, I'm not sure that that's realistic at Real Madrid. I think the only real question is exactly how this ends, rather than necessarily when it ends. And how high can he hold his head when he leaves? And that will be governed by, I don't think it will be governed by La Liga, although winning La Liga would be nice and notable, of course, because they're facing a very good Barcelona team at the moment. But the real question is, can they get it done in the Champions League? Because even under Carlo Ancelotti, who's been there, seen it, done it, and got the T-shirt, they were so far off last season. It might be unrealistic, but it's definitely something that's on the menu, as always.
And I want to end this section, Andy, by talking about Endrick. We talked last week about how this, potential genius young South American has not yet been given a chance at Real Madrid, and so he's gone, to your no doubt great delight, to Lyon. His arrival there, it's fair to say, has not gone unnoticed.
No, it is not. Endrick mania is happening. There's no doubt about it. They never say fall in love with a lone player. But even if you sort of take that as read, maybe you can fall in love with a lone player before he's made his debut. I don't know, because I think the way it's been choreographed by his team is very, very good. I think Lyon have played it very well on social media. Bear in mind that the highest watched clip they'd ever had on Lyon Instagram, on Olympic Lyonnais Instagram, before the last week and a half, was when Tyler Morton signed, which got about 3 million. This has got about 10 times that, which tells you something. Him and his wife have played it quite well as well, taking lots of footage and photos of them frolicking in the snow in nearby Switzerland, very much like George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley at this time of year, which is beautiful to see them respecting British tradition as well as French and Ligue 1 tradition. But he's someone who we don't just think could be a superstar in Ligue 1. We fully expect he will be.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you very much indeed for that. Next up, we'll turn to the wider scope onto what else has been happening in 2025 in Spain, out with the world of Real Madrid. That's next here on Trans-Europe Express.
Play Final One Standing by William Hill. It's free to play, with a new league kicking off every Premier League match week. Enter and make your first pick before the start of the first first round, then pick a new team before each following round. You can only pick each team once, and if you're the final one standing, then the jackpot is yours. Final one standing by William Hill. Football's ultimate elimination game. 18 plus, runs EPL season. One active league at a time unless prize £100,000 or more. Minimum prize £1,000. Prizes vary and apply to public users. Price split for using the same name. Pay within 48 hours. Online. Full T's and C's at williamhill.com. Play responsibly.
Service B, our most comprehensive service, is now available to Sprinter 906 owners for a fixed price of £263 plus 20% VAT at a time that suits you. Enjoy peace of mind with predictable costs and the knowledge that your van is in the hands of Mercedes-Benz trained technicians using only genuine parts. Visit our website or contact your local Mercedes-Benz dealer to check if your van is eligible. T's and C's apply. Only valid for Sprinter 906, any production 2018. Excludes petrol and V6 diesel engines. Covers labour and parts only carried out by the 31st of December.
The UK Poker Championship storms back into Nottingham this January with a £500,000 guaranteed main event prize pool. And you can get that starting from just one step by qualifying via step stats at GG Poker. Jump into Centros before the 20th of January and play your way to online day one. Make day two live in Nottingham via online day one, and GG Poker will pay for your hotel. A cent in, a shot and a share of £500,000. Head to GG Poker. 18 plus T's and C's apply. Gambleaware.org.
Merry Christmas, my love. Merry Christmas, Mom. Merry Christmas, Daddy.
Happy New Year! From the UK's first mobile phone call to the first text, we've been connecting you at Christmas since 1984 on Vodafone, the nation's network. The Nations Network, Vodafone UK, supporting the nation since 1984. Learn more at vodafone.co.uk/TNN.
It's time to unlock cheaper electricity with E.ON Next. Our Next Smart Saver tariff gives you cheaper rates between 7 p.m. and 2 a.m. every day. So however you spend your evenings, air frying, having a wash on, kitchen discoing, or kicking back and TV binge watching, you could be doing it all for less. Visit eonnext.com/smartsaver to find out more. Next Smart Saver is a 12-month fixed-term tariff with lower off-peak and super off-peak unit rates versus our standard variable tariff. Smart meter required. T's and C's apply.
Whatever kind of football fan you are, talkSPORT and the Coral Daily Download are here for it to celebrate the fans every day. Whether you're a front-row seater or a prawn sandwich eater, a half-and-half scarf wearer or a lifelong faithful torch bearer, a retro shirt for every game or bare-chested, even in the rain. For all the latest news, reaction and odds this season, don't miss the Coral Daily Download. Every morning from 6 on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
It's a turbocharged Tuesday night of post-Christmas football on the talkSPORT network. From 7:30, Chelsea versus Bournemouth on Talk Radio. Arsenal face Villa from 8:15 on talkSPORT. And Manchester United beat Wolves on talkSPORT 2. It's a Tuesday night of temperamental Premier League football on the talkSPORT network.
Okay, we've already talked about Real Madrid 2025. Let's talk about other teams in Spain and in Spanish football in general. We'll get on to the calamity. Hello, Fiorentina, Valencia a little later. But before that, of course, I've gone mad. I need to get back to Alexander Palace, where the last big game of the evening in the darts is going on. Michael van Gerwen is taking on Arno Merck. Beneath the eyes of my friend and colleague, and happy Christmas to Ian Danter.
Happy Christmas to you, Danny. Well, Michael van Gerwen is just one set away from a place in the round of 16 and what would be a match against another former world champion in Gary Anderson. He's 3 sets to 1 up against Merck, who, remember, is making his debut at these championships. And he did take the 3rd set off Van Gerwen with a couple of ton-plus checkouts, but normal service, you might say, has been resumed with MVG taking the 4th set, so he's just 1 set away from advancing. Wins earlier tonight for Gian van Veen and another former world champion in Luke Humphries. And the rest of this game will play out on the talkSPORT app, the talkSPORT Darts YouTube page, and over on talkSPORT 2 as well.
BBC World Darts Championship update on talkSPORT with Village Hotels. Hit the bullseye this New Year's Eve. Party at one of our New Year's Eve events. 34 locations across the UK. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Yeah, we'll get you a final report on that game, unless it goes to penalties, from Ian a little later on. Andy, let's talk about Spain in 2025, and despite my worries about sometimes the way they play, and about having a 94-year-old centre forward in Lewandowski. It's been a pretty brilliant 2025 for Barcelona.
Yeah, it has. And you look at not just them winning the title back, but the style in which they did it, the style in which they got to the semi-finals of the Champions League and very, very close to the final, even though I guess a lot of people would deny their dream final of PSG versus Barcelona in Munich in the end. There was the feeling they would be back. The only question about this really was, would they be able to really keep their heads above water financially, and would they be able to maintain the team in this way? Now, I guess they've had two pieces of really good news in that direction in this calendar year. Firstly, is the fact that off the field they've moved back to the Camp Nou, which has relieved a bit of pressure for them. Of course, it's not fully open and operational, but they're able to getting a lot more seats. They're not spending on rent anymore, and all these things do matter to modern day Barcelona. And secondly, on the field and in terms of squad construction, they're able to make the absolute most out of the squad because they've got an unbelievable coach in Hansi Flick. Now, this isn't diminishing the job that Deco is doing upstairs as sporting director, because I think he's doing a pretty good job. But really, when you look at how he's able to get different things out of the same players, I think that's something that really underlined him as a elite level coach with substance when he was at Bayern, and it's doing it all over again. But if he ended up with a treble this season, I wouldn't be absolutely stunned. It can be done by Barcelona. Now, look, they're only 4 points clear of Real Madrid. They're not walking the league or anything like this at the moment. But in the last month or so, they've been absolutely relentless. Now, part of that has been the return to form and fitness, really, of Rafinha. I think that's made a massive job, despite the fact that Marcus Rashford's done very well. He's been excellent for them, and Hansi Flick has been clear. He's been talking Spain over the last couple of days that Hansi Flick wants to keep Marcus Rashford. That's one of his priorities going into 2026. But I think when you look at a few of the holes that are in that team, and they could definitely do with at least one more central defender, the moves that Flick has made to cover that. So he's coached some great centre-back performances out of Gerard Martin, one of the lesser known names. He's basically reserve left-back.
Yeah.
And that he's able to do that he's able to bring stuff out of players that they didn't know they could produce, like a Bielsa that wins trophies. It's amazing.
Yeah. Meanwhile, down, the third leg of normally the big teams, that's a particular school in Spain, is Atletico Madrid. I don't know what to make of Atletico anymore, Andy, because they seem to be recently as in permanent transition between that astonishing team of defensive tough nuts and a grit mind that they went into seam after seam after seam during their glory years of getting Champions League finals, only to be denied by Gareth Bale, to where they are now. Although I think the emergence of the manager's son is perhaps giving them a glimpse of maybe a future.
Yeah, and I think maybe for all the players they have signed over the last couple of years and all the players they could sign with, of course, this new ownership, it feels like Giuliano Simeone is the bridge between old Atletico and new Atletico. I agree with you, because he's got all of that grit and grinter. He likes to get involved in situations. He likes to be a pest, as a youngest child always does. He likes to buy fouls.
There's a man with children speaking there. Yeah, very good.
They're always trying to buy fouls, honestly, Danny. But I think...
And they go.
Yeah, that too. But I think that the fact that he's also perpetually interested in attacking, as well as being able to do the defensive part of his job, is a bridge to this newer Atletico. And they do have exciting attacking players. I think they're, even when they were defensively really sound, and we think of the 2014 title winners and Champions League finals particularly, they were never likely on the counter-attack, whereas this team can be, which I think is really interesting. Now, look, if we look at this current Barcelona, which is a beautiful Barcelona, which is the sort of Barcelona that the people all over the world want to see, when they were challenged in the Guardiola and Mourinho era, They went to Mourinho because they thought, well, we can never be Barcelona, so let's be the team that can be the most uncomfortable for them. I think Atletico are gradually going towards that, because I think you've seen little hints in the games between Atletico and Barcelona. And that last game they played at Camp Nou, actually, and Barcelona won 3-1 in the end, beating Atletico as they so often do. But Atletico went a goal up. They could have had a second. They've definitely got the players to make the most of that high line. Now, if they can learn to defend just a little bit better, and of course they have rebuilt their defence, they have been rebuilding their defence over the last little while, so I don't think with the amount of change they've had in the squad we can expect too much too soon. I think they're gradually getting there, and the one message that's coming out of Atletico, even with the new ownership, even with the new sporting director, Matteo Alemany, who did a great job at Valencia and Barcelona before, Simeone's not going anywhere. He's celebrating 14 years in charge on the 23rd of December. He's contracted till 2027, and they're talking internally about a new contract for him. He's not going anywhere. Whoever takes over from us in Trans-Europe Express, when we finally park it, we'll still be talking about Diego Simeone in charge of Atletico.
It's an extraordinary morning, Andy, and thank you for introducing the notion of our imminent demise into my Christmas celebrations. Very quickly, my star of the week in star of the year. Who thought Anthony, when he was transferred from Manchester United to Betis for a loss in his transfer value of, Andy, 73 million euros, you'd have thought that would have broken the spirit of any professional footballer, but he has done the opposite. He's gone on, led Betis to a Conference League final, scored loads of goals, to the point where Isco, their previous talisman, has said that if he tried to go back to Manchester United, he would kidnap him. The crowd love him, his teammates love him, and he has given them a decent chance in the Europa League, and is challenging Villarreal for a place in next season's Champions League as well, assuming Spain get the extra place. So he, Anthony, is my star of the year in Spain. Who is yours?
I'm going to go to Villarreal, actually. Let's keep it East Coast. And it's not going to be the guy who laid the first brick on the new Mestalla when construction restarted for Valencia. They're hoping to have that ready in 2027.
Fantastic.
It's Marcelino, who has gone back to Villarreal. They say never go back as a coach, but he has gone back. Got them in the Champions League last season. Has kept them in the title race for most of this, which is extraordinary. Okay, they've been rubbish in the Champions League, but bearing in mind their resources, it's an extraordinary effort.
Thank you. Our next section previews what we might see in the new year in the Champions League, and it's titled, and you forgive me, it's titled by me, Please Andy, who the hell will stop Arsenal?
Hungry for afternoon radio with extra full-on football flavour? Don't miss the daily drive time delivery on talkSPORT with Justy. Join Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent for spicy pre-match speculation, seasoned pundit expertise, and some seriously salty opinions. I do expect you to in the Premier League. Feed your appetite for the UK's tastiest team talk, where nothing is off the menu. I can't lie to you, shot me. Drive with Goldstein and Bent all next week from 4 on talkSPORT with Just Eat. Geographical restrictions, terms and conditions apply.
And the 2025 Online Casino of the Year award goes to BetMGM.
That's how we do it in Vegas, baby. Sign up now to BetMGM Casino. Play £10 and get 200 free spins. Why wouldn't you play anywhere else? BetMGM. If it ain't us, it ain't Vegas.
Minimum £10 spent. New customers only. Wagering requirements and conditions apply. Awarded at EMEA Global Gaming Awards. 18+. Please gamble responsibly.
We're the dirty secret in your trains.
When I start a nasty little
Oh, we get more powerful.
crawling up your paddle
So keep your toilet.
until it's all aboard the express train to train.
When your trains become a total horror show, call Metro Rod. Metro Rod's heroes are on hand 24/7 to look all the nasty surprises in your pipes. For sanitation salvation, visit metrorod.co.uk. Metro Rod, here to save the day.
Big game this week. Want a bet? Stop and think. Because sometimes the best bet is the one you don't make. Gamble responsibly. Bet Fred. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Lovely Christmas, wasn't it? You did well.
I know the trainers you now got you weren't exactly the ones you asked for.
They were great. A big hit on eBay. Sold before we'd even had lunch.
Oh.
That gorgeous top that was too small sold in seconds too.
Right.
And these headphones I already had literally just sold.
Do you think you could list the handbag your dad got before you even finished that cup of tea?
When it's this easy to sell for free, you can't help but say when it's eBay, things people love. T's apply, excludes vehicles.
Sport. It's in your DNA. That's Spread Exports. You get great offers and features to aid your sports betting, including £30 in free bets when you join and place a qualifying £10 fixed odds bet at minimum odds of 1 to 2. Visit spreadex.com/DNA for full terms and conditions. Spread Exports. It's in our DNA. 18 plus gambleware.org. Qualifying bets not be cashed out early. One step will get free £10 fixed odds bets on consecutive days. Free bet stakes not included in any winnings. Free bets must be claimed within 28 days.
Coming soon, kick-by-kick coverage of the FA Cup on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2. Essential pre-match build-up, unmissable full-life commentary. Displaying true grit, guts, and glory. It's the road to the FA Cup. This January. talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2.
I say, eat my go.
Trans-Euro Express.
Okay, the darts is finished for the day at Alexander Palace. Let's get a report on the last big match of that day. It comes from Ian Danta.
And Michael Van Gerwen is safely through to the last 16. A 4-1 victory over the man making his debut at these championships, Arno Burt, who did rally briefly to get it back with one step with a couple of tablets checkouts. He can be proud of his efforts here. But Van Gerwen is through to face another former world champion, Gary Anderson, in the round of 16. So round 3 is nearly done. There are 4 more round 3 ties which will play out tomorrow on talkSPORT 2, the talkSPORT app and the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel from 12:30. And by the time tomorrow night is out, Luke Littler will have played his 4th round tie as he bids for back-to-back world titles. It's all happening on your own. Darts on the radio, talkSPORT 2 from 12:30 tonight.
BBC World Darts Championship update on talkSPORT with Village Hotels. Hit the bullseye this New Year's Eve. Party at one of our New Year's Eve events. 34 locations across the UK. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Yeah, thanks to Ian Danta, Mark Wilson and all the other talkSPORT staff. Of course, it is the holiday season. They're doing an amazing job up there in the upper points of North London at the BBC World Darts. More from them tomorrow live over on talkSPORT 2. And a report here on talkSPORT. I'll be with you actually. Between 1 and 4, I'm sitting here with Paul Hawksby on Hawksby and Jacobs. Myself and Darren Ambrose will be trying to entertain and inform you through the early afternoon here on talkSPORT. We'll keep you bang up to date with everything that's happening in the darts. Andy, let's turn from review, which we've been doing so far, to preview of 2026 as we head towards that year. Let's start with the Champions League, shall we? And while I want to call it Who Will Stop Arsenal, I'm sure you'll help me with that a bit later. But what I want to talk about first is what's happened so far, because we've had the sophomore season of the new incarnation of the Champions League, and I think it's been a very different experience from first time round, where the big clubs had no idea how to play this new league format and what kind of points total you would require to qualify in the top 8. I think we've seen a complete change this year with real concentration on avoiding that punishment round.
Yeah, I would agree, Danny. And it's been really leave nothing to chance from the elite clubs. And I think when you look at the way that Arsenal, not just Arsenal, although of course they've been the outstanding team results-wise in the Champions League so far. I think you look at Bayern Munich, you look at PSG, and there's leave nothing to chance. The way that PSG have, obviously they're a more accomplished team than they were in the first half of last season's Champions League. Now, 2025 has been a real watershed for them. But I do feel that as well, it has been an attitude of what has happened to us last season is not going to happen to us again. It's almost as if they, Real Madrid, Manchester City, are the cautionary tale that keeps everyone motivated, really, in this season's Champions League. That we don't want to be on the cusp, we don't want to be fighting for our lives in match days 6, 7 and 8. We need to go for this. And you look at the amount of goals that PSG, for example, have scored in this season's Champions League. You know, it's not a sense of let's do the bare minimum and get the results. It's let's absolutely smash the competition, and if we can put our feet up at the end, let's do that. And any time it's felt like one of the bigger teams, but I guess we have to put Manchester City, whether you think they're a genuine, legitimate contender for the Champions League or not, I think that is a discussion, because they're kind of on the cusp of between yes or no for me. When I last saw them against Leverkusen, I think that was a really good cautionary tale, because any time a team has slackened off for a bit, they've been punished, as they were against Leverkusen that night when I saw them in Manchester. You know, the fact that you can't just coast through this with half a team or a Carabao Cup team, you can't do that. And I think that little reminder is going to push them on a little bit and push their competitors on a little bit as well.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the weirdest selections of Pep Guardiola's storied and legendary career, if I'm truthful. Andy, which takes us then to who's going to win it or who are the contenders. I think two things. First of all, I genuinely believe it's wide open. As we sit here in the last dying embers of 2025, I have no strong views about who might win it in 2026. And of course, a great deal will depend on the draw. But I guess just pulling names out of the hat, PSG are, as you say, a really accomplished team these days. Bayern Munich have got an astonishing array of firepower available to them, which might be improved if Musiala gets back in time for that stage of the tournament. Arsenal have shown that they know how to win it in Europe. And I think Inter Milan have got a great squad of players, whether or not they can be great enough for this tournament. Manchester City, I share all your doubts about Manchester City, except I do see them improving. And that's often a sign when Guardiola gets on a roll, he's something else. Where do you think the likely finalists will come from, Andy?
I think obviously it's very draw dependent, as we saw last season. I know that might sound like a bit of a cop out, but I don't think it is, because if you look at Liverpool, who were indisputably fantastic in the group stage of last season's Champions League, and then they drew a great PSG in the last 16, they ended up winning nothing. So I think, like, when we're, say, floating Arsenal as potential favourites, I don't think they're quite the team that I would. They're very capable of doing it, but whether I think they're a favourite at this point, no, I don't think they are, despite the fact they've had an excellent start to the season. I think we always have to bear that in mind. Talking of cautionary tales from this new format of the Champions League, you know, you could, if they were drawn against Bayern, as well as they beat them in the second half of that game at the Emirates in the league stage, you know, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't want them again over a two-legged game in the last 16. So you never know what's going to happen. You know, it could be a PSG. We just don't know. The reward for doing your best and winning your best was really quite small. So I guess that the other side of that, though, is you're maybe less likely to get a really difficult team in the last 16, because the biggest teams have taken it so seriously in the league stage this season. So whereas at the bottom of the 24 you had a Real Madrid lurking for Manchester City, or you had a PSG or Real Madrid like last season, this season that doesn't look so much like the case. When you look at clubs on the cusp, you're looking at Napoli, really. I think are the big one that are down there, that are finding themselves in proper danger. Obviously that might change after match day 7, but they're the one that you really have to worry about. And would they be a team that any of the elite clubs would really worry about? I don't think they would, especially because they've got Conte in Europe printed over them in neon at the moment, which means despite the fact that they are on the cusp, the results have been better than the performances, which have been pretty lousy in the Champions League, and maybe that won't change.
Do you think, Andy, that with PSG, at least, in real terms, have got a race on their hands to win the domestic title? Inter are involved at the back on top side in a very tight race in Italy. Arsenal have had their huge lead in the Premier League eroded. Do you think Bayern, being pretty comfortable at the top of the Bundesliga, gives them an advantage as we head into the spring?
I don't think we can say that, because there's always a question over whether domestic comfort makes it more difficult to keep up the intensity levels, or whether having to go for the league as well completely tires you out. Now, I don't think we can use Inter being incredibly close to a treble and ending up with nothing. We can't really use that as an example into this season, because Inter have made their squad a little bit younger, and it's clearly made a difference to them. And I think that's another thing that makes them one of the contenders going forward. I mean, the thing that's always going to make...
You think that Lautaro Martinez and Thuram is the best strike combination in the competition?
Yeah, I do. And they're certainly the best front two. And they've got meaningful backup, which they didn't have last season. I think you look at Angelo Amboni, who's been great for them. You look at Francesco Esposito, who's emerged in the last 6 months, and already is. I think that makes a massive difference there. And they've got legs in midfield as well. You look at Andy Diouf arriving, players in their early 20s. That makes a massive difference to them. And if they can go on and not concede goals, and obviously they haven't in the last couple of Champions League games, so no one's going to remember what happened in match day 5 and 6 of the league stage when it gets to the back end of it. I think they're a contender all over again. I think they're a genuine contender. I would say there are probably about maybe 5 teams who could win it. So I would say Arsenal, Barcelona, PSG, Inter, Bayern. I think that's probably it, really. Because, like I said, Manchester City are on the cusp for me. It's funny, because I think if you look at City, the front part of their team, I would want over pretty much any team out there. But having said that, the back half of the team looks a bit too close to last season's team for comfort for me. Not just in terms of personnel, but in terms of form, I would say.
I'll remind you of this prediction in May, when the anthem is playing and the Spurs players are puffing out their chest on the side of the pitch. Next up, we'll talk about the World Cup in Mexico, Canada, and of course, the United States.
Join Midnight Casino and discover a whole new world! With hot slots, jackpots, live casino roulette, and blackjack at the ready. Come and play your way. Get 100 free spins when you spend £20 on eligible games. Search Midnight Casino or download the Midnight app today. Midnight. Casino the better. You decide. New customers only. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. 18 plus. BeGamblerAware.org.
Whether you're chasing titles or just that first 180, there's a place for you at the Yoki. And at Target, we design the darts, boards, and tech that take every player further. From precision-engineered barrels trusted by the world's best like Stephen Bunting and Luke the Nuke Littler, to our next-generation Omni-Auto scoring system, built to keep your game flowing and your focus where it should be, on the throne. Darts, boards, accessories, smart tech, whatever your level, Target gives you the tools to play better, feel better, and love the game even more. Get on Target. Visit targetdarts.com.
Ready to switch your play? Live Sport Vegas is your go-to destination. Explore a huge selection of top-tier slots and live casino games. And for new players, there's a special welcome. Play £10 on slots and unlock 100 free spins on King Kong Cash. Even bigger bananas, Jackpot King. Step straight into the action and search Live Score Vegas today. New customers only. Waited in 7 days of sign-up. 10 pence spin value. Valid 3 days. T&Cs and deposit exclusions apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. GambleAware.org.
Now, I'm as guilty as anyone when it comes to ignoring things. Road grey hairs, red flags in relationships, or that service reminder on your car dash. Luckily, that one's easy. Visit Cinch for flat-free servicing at over 100 locations. Any car, whether you bought it from Cinch or not. With MOTs $39.95 and servicing from only $129.95. To book your service or buy your next car, visit cinch.co.uk. See cinch.co.uk/servicing for details, terms and exclusions apply.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. No, not Christmas. It's DFS winter sale time. with savings on a huge range of stylish sofas and beds. Get premium 2% credit on everything. Let your fun find its thing in the DFS winter sale. Shake on down to a store near you. DFS, what's your thing?
He's having a blinder. He's clipped the post. He's looking formidable. Then
His game might be over, but yours isn't. With Betfair's Safe Zone, your bet simply rolls onto the player coming on. Playing a different league with Betfair.
Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Applies to singles, multiples, and bet builder bets and qualified player outcome selections. Does not apply to odds boosts, T's and exclusions apply. 18+ gambleware.org.
All the breaking big sports news, live football scores and interviews. There's transfer fees and injuries, even full match commentaries. The talkSPORT app.
Hear, watch and scroll unbeatable content from the world's biggest sports radio station. Whenever you want, wherever you want. Available from the App Store now. Terms and conditions apply.
26K for 2026 on talkSPORT.
Yeah, talkSPORT's already looking ahead to the exciting year and what 2026 can bring. And we're giving you the chance to win a massive £26,000. What better way to kick off 2026 than with some serious cash? Yep, 26 grand. It's our biggest New Year cash giveaway and it could be yours. It's 26k for 2026 and here's how to enter. For your chance to win, just text that word, WIN, W-I-N, to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or you can call 0343 423 9761. The line is closed at 12 p.m. on the 9th of January 2026, of course. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. It's UK residents only and 18+. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's are at talksport.com/win. So to get your chance now, just text WIN, W-I-N, to 83338. Do it now. Good luck, everybody. So, Andy, let's then turn our jeweller's eyepiece, if that's the correct phrase, on, I suppose you have to, it is the biggest sporting event of next year, and it's certainly the biggest football event, the World Cup across 3 countries in North and Central America, Canada, the United States, and Mexico. We will get onto the football field and who is liable to win in just a second. But the surrounding political, cultural tensions thrown up by the way the United States is organising centrally the tournament, illustrated in recent days with a massive row about ticket prices, I think has been illustrated by a span. For those of you who don't have social media, I'll explain to you. Alexei Lalas was a decent enough footballer who got a very huge reputation by coming to be one of the first USA players to play over here in a major European league in Italy. He was also made notable by his Viking shock of ginger hair and ginger beard. He these days is a great supporter of the United States President Donald Trump and also a big sort of big wig in the world of football in America. And he's been arguing online with Miguel Delaney. We should make a point. I know Miguel is a friend of Andy's, works for the Independent, a really brilliant and courageous journalist, particularly about the way football is run around the globe. They've been having a row on Twitter over the last 24 hours that is painful to watch, because when you see someone like Alexei Lalas and many people supporting him, saying that ticket prices have to be high because this is a commercial undertaking, that football fans need to understand that they are there to be exploited. And then I thought it was the most pathetic thing where he said, really, complaining about ticket prices, just European people realising they're not as rich as Americans, when many of the European complaints, including that from the English Football Support Association, were saying this is going to exclude people from poor economies who have qualified specifically from Africa. It's been painful to watch, Andy. A figure as important as Alexei Lalas talking, to me, such disrespectful and anti-football nonsense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Danny, and I'm not really sure what I can add to it because you covered it so perfectly. But, I think it's an argument in fairness to Alexi Lalas, that has not been restricted to him. He's not, that's come out. It's something that I've seen a lot online. People saying, and we're not saying that this is all American view or all American football supporters' view, but Europeans need to stop complaining. If they don't have the money to come, don't come. And I can't get over how daft that argument is. And when you think as well, so much of what gives colour to American soccer, and I'm thinking of MLS, I'm thinking of teams like Atlanta United, in recent years LAFC as well, teams and clubs that have really given such a great view of American soccer, based on the animation given to it by an immigrant population. That to me makes it even more remarkable, and a lot of those people will be priced out of it. And people shouldn't have to be poured in the family silver to go and be part of the World Cup. I think you can look at, even in Qatar, for all the moral issues with the World Cup in Qatar, what prices are up? Like well over 150%. I don't know the exact figure, but it's an unbelievable figure. Yeah. It's an unbelievable figure.
And I guess for me, the sadness is I went to the World Cup the last time I was in the USA in 1994, and the welcome there, and seeing the groups of supporters from all over the world, and American people, enjoying it. And if you couldn't afford getting to it wasn't about affordability, the tickets were just so hard to get hold of for the big games. You could see it in bars where everyone was working and all the rest of it. There seems to be a change in attitude and telling that it's not very it's distasteful to me. And we know that this will continue right up to the start of the tournament. When that happens, Andy, we're into the football. And just like the Champions League, I think the format's the first thing I know. It's got the ultimate possible winners. And I'm not making this was my opinion. This was what you brought up in our pre-show meeting, that we are in the world of modern football here, and this is me complaining again, where people are going to be required to play and watch a tremendous amount of football to lose just a very small number of teams from the tournament.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the case from the group stage, and when you're charging that much to get in, the games might as well be of appropriate meaning. There needs to be some jeopardy, and I get that football wants to be inclusive, even though the prices suggest otherwise. But ultimately, it is a cup competition, and teams have to get knocked out at some stage. That they all make it almost into the knockout stage. I mean, the whole concept we have of the group of death, that basically goes in the bin if loads of third place teams qualify. I think that's a real shame. The World Cup is not just about people like us that watch football all the time and obsess and pore over every detail of it. This is the world's competition. So this is for people who only watch football every couple of years as well. And all of us, I think, deserve to have a competition where it is edge of your seat, where it is something that grips the whole world. Not, 3 points will probably see us through to the next round. I mean, I think that's a real shame. It's asking a lot of the public, and it's asking a lot of the players as well.
There really is no group of death. At the side of the pitch for these group stage matches, you'll see a load of people with defibrillators. I'm talking metaphorically here, of course. Stretchers, nobody dies. Everybody goes through it. You have to really try hard not to qualify. All right, so then we'll get into the guts of the tournament, Andy. And again, a bit like the Champions League, I think you can make a case for Spain, France with their, almost bottomless depth of talent. England because of their firepower, Argentina because they're the champions, and I always think Brazil are a dark horse here. We'll talk to Tim Vickery very soon about Argentina and Brazil as well. Who are your, at this stage, things can change with injuries and form and management and all the rest, who are your favourites?
Spain, France and England are my three. I think the biggest question for England is how and if they incorporate Jude Bellingham into the 11. to me, I accept that Morgan Rogers has been brilliant. I don't think in recent weeks, I don't think that necessarily precludes Thomas Tuchel from including Jude Bellingham. And of course, Jude Bellingham might be our area on this show a bit more, but to me, even the idea of like leading out Jude Bellingham, whichever role you use him in, is just unbelievable. I can't get my head around it at all. I think the interesting thing with Spain above all is they don't necessarily have the best 11 players, but they know who they are more than any other team in this competition, which I think is absolutely huge. Luis de la Fuente has marshalled them really well. On the other hand, there have been questions about Didier Deschamps the whole time, which is remarkable, I suppose, for a World Cup winning manager. But I guess the balance kind of tipped over in the last couple of tournaments that you're a World Cup winning manager, therefore you are immortal, to you have had a decade and a half of unbelievable players and this is all you've won us. Which I think is an interesting place to be in. So in terms of not just French football and Mbappe, who's just turned 27 and what his legacy might be, in terms of Didier Deschamps' legacy, because we know he's going at the end of the tournament and will be succeeded by Zinedine Zidane, I think this is a pretty big tournament for his legacy.
It's going to be, once we get over the issues that we talked about again and again and again, and once we get some of the lesser nations have had a lovely run, but we get down to the crux of the thing, it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Of course, you'll hear just tons of it here on talkSPORT.
At GrosvenorCasinos.com, every free daily spin could lead to a win. You can win cash, free spins and more. Every day and a free grand prize win. Plus a top prize of £1,000. Experience it all. GrosvenorCasinos.com. Eligible players 18 plus. T&Cs apply. Keep it fun.
ServiceSpeed, our most comprehensive service, is now available to Sprinter 906 owners for a fixed price of £263 plus 20% VAT at a time that suits you. Enjoy peace of mind with predictable costs and the knowledge that your van is in the hands of Mercedes-Benz trained technicians using only genuine parts. Visit our website or contact your local Mercedes-Benz dealer to check if your van is eligible. T&Cs apply. Only valid for Sprinter 906, any production 2018. Excludes petrol and V6 diesel engines. Covers labour and parts only carried out with the 31st of December.
Changes in behaviour with loved ones could be a sign of dementia. Alzheimer's Society are here for vital support and information. It will take a society to beat dementia.
At Betfair, we believe that to play different, you need the right tools. The boots, the world-class tactics, the science-backed nutrition. The pros have their tools, and with Betfair, so do you. Our safer gambling tools work just like the right pair of boots, designed to keep you on top of your game. Open the Betfair app to equip yourself so you can bet at your best. Betfair, play different.
18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Hi, just getting work now. Sorry it's a bit loud. Basically, so I was thinking we could get Mackey's tonight. Had a Big Mac on my mind all day, and delivery fee on the app is now from 99p. So, you in? Of course you are. Love you. Bye.
Exclusively on the McDonald's app. 18 plus, service fee, small order fee may apply. Participating restaurants, serving times and T's apply.
With Sprint Delivery, you get your order in as little as 20 minutes. That's faster than some Mo Farah running downhill with a perfect tailwind. Screwfix, no stopping you.
Join Midnight Casino and discover a whole new world! With hot slots, jackpots, live casino roulette, and blackjack at the ready. Come play your way. Get 100 free spins when you spend £20 on eligible games. Search Midnight Casino or download the Midnight app today. Midnight. Casino done better. You decide. New customers only. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
1089 and 1053 medium wave on your mobile and on your smart speaker.
Home of the festive 50. 50 games of football this December.
talkSPORT. talkSPORT.
Yeah, I've weighed in. There's officially a ton of stuff still to come here on Trans Europe Express. Tim Vickery will join us from South America. Tony Afoki. Afoki will join us from AFCON, which is now well underway. We'll be reflecting on the decision to retire of the legendary Edison Cavani, and Andy will take you around the leagues as we head into the new year. All of that comes after we've had the news and sport headlines from Steve Forbes.
Cheers, Danny. Good evening. Archie Gray scored his first goal in senior football in a 1-0 win for Spurs against Palace at Selhurst Park. He's told us his first half effort allowed Tottenham to take control in the second 45.
Wasn't the best game from, I don't think, either side. It was a bit of a scrappy game. Good to get the goal in that moment, like you said, to get a little bit of momentum going into half time. But you know, we also had two disallowed goals, which must have been tight. I haven't seen it back, but I think the first one would have been really tight, especially.
Meanwhile, it's 6 score sheets in a row that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's put himself on after grabbing the equaliser for Leeds in a 1-1 draw at Sunderland. The Black Cats missed the chance to go fifth, or to leave a sour squad, according to Regis Lebris.
The dressing room was upset, a bit disappointed, which is a good sign, because I think today we faced a good Leeds. They were strong and in a good form.
talkSPORT understands that Nuno Espirito Santo may get the sack if West Ham's form doesn't improve quickly. He's only won twice in his 13 matches since replacing Graham Potter. In tennis, both Nick Kyrgios and Arina Sabalenka say their Battle of the Sexes exhibition match has done good for the sport. Kyrgios won in straight sets. Our tennis expert Lisa O'Sullivan says the one-serve rule hindered the women's number one.
Arina Sabalenka's service is a large part of why she wins so many matches and why she's a multiple Grand Slam champion. And we saw, which can be some of the best parts of tennis, just taken out of the game as a result. And it was weird.
And Alex Michael Van Gerwen dispatched Arno Merck 4-1 to reach the fourth round of the World Darts. Earlier, Luke Humphries survived a scare to beat Gabriel Clemens 4-2. talkSPORT News. Donald Trump says there are the makings of a deal as he holds talks with Volodymyr Zelensky in Florida about ending the war in Ukraine. And tributes are poured in for the French film icon Brigitte Bardot following her death at the age of 91.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Rain or shine, our mobile tyre fitting service comes to you so you can stay on the sofa this winter. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Monday will be another largely cloudy day, though a few sunny spells may break through for Scotland and Northern England.
On your mobile and on your smart TV, Trans-Euro Express.
The nation's premier all-action weekly international football program from Paris to Barcelona. Unmissable European football. talkSPORT Express, the world's favorite European football program on talkSPORT.
To the third and final hour of tonight's edition of Trans-Europe Express, the third and final hour of the 2025 journey for the Trans-Europe Express. I'm Danny Kelly. With me, as always, is my co-pilot Andy Brassell. We've got lots to get through in this final 60 minutes. Tim Vicker will join us from South America very soon. Tony Afoki has been out for the start of AFCON in Morocco. We'll also be talking about the news. Edison Cavani, who's played some of the biggest clubs in the world and with such distinction, has announced his retirement from football, and Andy will take us around some of the other stories from the other leagues happening in the last few days here in Europe and beyond. Welcome one, welcome all to your last hour for 2025, the Trans-Europe Express. And it's easy to be sentimental this time of year, but I say it without no sentiment at all. It's a fact. The show wouldn't be the show without our regular visit to South America to get hold of the wit and expertise of Tim Vickery. Good evening, Tim.
Evening, gentlemen. Did I hear right there? Have you sent a folkie out to the AFCON? You sent someone with a beard, a finger in his ear, and Aaron Sweater singing songs about leaving Liverpool never to return. I haven't seen anyone at all.
If only I could arrange that kind of Venn diagram overlap between two of my favourite things, AFCON and folk music. If I could arrange that, Tim, I'd be there, dude. Listen, Tim,
do you want this is the Trans-Europe Express, do you want a Brazil-Bardot link-up?
Go on, then.
Pretty good, you know. The fishing village, about 3-4 hours down the road from Rio, called Buzios. It's Alan Brazil's favourite haunt. He absolutely loves the place. It is the creation of Brigitte Bardot. She came over at the height of her fame, early 60s, to Rio, and the press just wouldn't leave her alone. And she discovered this place. She had a mate who was a mate of the Argentine consulate, this hidden little fishing village. And she spent some time there, I think maybe summer of '64, summer of '63, something like that. And she just absolutely loved it, loved it. And then she went back to France, and because she'd been there, the place just went boom. It became really commercialised, and so she went back the following year. They made her an honorary citizen, and she absolutely despised it. You know, it was everything that she was trying to get away from. So she never went back as long as she lived. I think you saw that the cinema there is named after her. The coastline is named after her. There's a statue of her there, and she never went back. But she launched Buzios, and she launched Alan Brazil's favourite resort.
You know what, Tim? I think that's what Endrick Mania is going to do for Leon in the next 6 months. He's the modern Bardot.
Sorry, Tim, you're not joking. Alan Brazil's favourite place is called Buzios.
Yeah, it is, yes. You couldn't make it up, could you?
Okay, I thought you were making it up, but there you are.
It is absolutely true. I remember doing radio with him many years ago, and I've never been there. And he absolutely lambasted me for not having been to Buzios. Since then, my better half has forced me to go the last 2 or 3 years. And he's absolutely right. It is wonderful.
All right, Tim, let's talk about South American football in the year 2025. And I guess when we asked you what you'd like to talk about, you talked about the World Cup qualifiers, which has seen a lot of South American teams qualify, of course, but also a cultural change caused by one particular match between the two biggest teams in South America.
Yes, and I think you saw it back in March. Argentina,
yeah.
Indeed, Argentina 4, Brazil 1. Argentina unlucky to get only 4, Brazil lucky to get 1. It was a performance that was worse than the 7-1. It was. The 7-1 was basically a humiliation that happened in the course of 10 mad minutes. This was 90 absolutely deplorable minutes of football, one of the biggest canings you could possibly imagine. And it finally opened the door for something that's, for about 20-25 years, it's from the point where they struggled like mad to make the 2002 World Cup, which they ended up winning. There's been this debate about foreign coaches. What do you reckon? And obviously the old guard spends most of its time saying no. But it has now happened. On the back of that 4-1 defeat, the coach was Dorival Jr. He was the last hope of the old guard. He was a fiasco, and out he came, and in has come Carlo Ancelotti, who has, in the short time available, brought about significant improvements. Whether Brazil are going to be up to winning the World Cup, there are questions about them that we won't be able to find out until the day, which is, can what he's trying to do work in the conditions of insane heat in which some of this World Cup will be played? Can he really play 2 wingers, 2 up front, leaving only 2 in central midfield, one of them will be the 34-year-old Casemiro, who's his first name on the team sheet? Can that work? Or will they have to play extra men in midfield? It was a dilemma for Dorival as well. It's the reason that they were so unbalanced in that lambasting that they took to Argentina. How do you get the best out of what Brazil have at the moment? And the best of them isn't in central midfield. You know, the best of them is wingers. So you want to get wingers in. Can you balance out the side that way? We will. I suspect we're going to have a lot of fun finding out.
And Argentina are world champions, right? But there's a part of me, Tim, that thinks if I had to pick a South American winner of the World Cup, or a team to go deep, semi-finalists in the World Cup, right now I'd be more inclined to look at Brazil because I have such faith in Ancelotti than I would Argentina. Is that stupid?
No, I don't think it is. And Argentina are the best side. I mean, the 6 rounds of qualifiers that we had this year, they were by some distance the best side statistically. They won 4 of those 6 games. They kept on winning games afterwards. In many ways, their build-up has gone sensationally well, really over the last 4 years, because they found ways to not be dependent on Lionel Messi. There have been times, and that 4-1 win over Brazil was certainly one of them, when they have been even better without Lionel Messi. But it's the same defensive unit that it was in the last World Cup, and there's an extra knockout round this time round. And it nearly let them down so often, you know, in Qatar. Can you really imagine them getting through all of those knockout rounds? Surely once that defence is going to collapse, and it's going to really cost them. They are also trying to do what has never been done before. No one has ever retained the World Cup outside of their own home continent. It's never been done before. Although, and I heard you find gentlemen saying that your list of three is all European. Every time the World Cup has been in North America, South America has won it. So Argentina should be there or thereabouts. But again, if I have to bet on which of those two is going to go further, I suspect you might be right. Certainly an Argentina would love to have Brazil's resources at centre-back. There are other teams as well. I mean, the second best team in qualifying this year in those 6 rounds, wait for it, Paraguay. The man in the navy suit, Gustavo Alfaro, is one of the miracle workers of international football. He was a late discovery as an international coach. Took Ecuador to the last World Cup. Did good things very briefly with Costa Rica, held Brazil to a draw in the Copa America in the middle of last year, and he's done wonders with Paraguay. He's an absolute national hero. Paraguay are not going to go all the way, but they're competitive. And 2 other teams who really stand out. Ecuador, the only team unbeaten in those last 6 rounds of World Cup qualification. Ecuador have gone 15 games unbeaten, and yet the coach is under intense pressure. Sebastian Becasecchi, another Argentine coach. The reason being they don't score goals, but they don't concede very many, if any. Colombia are 9 games unbeaten, and Colombia do have a bit more up front than Ecuador have, although they are over-dependent on the James Rodriguez, Luis Diaz double act. But 9 games unbeaten, they want some looking out for as well. The one I haven't mentioned from the automatic qualifiers is Uruguay, because they are in a sorry state. They didn't do very well. They were second a year ago, and they collapsed. They only won 2 of their last 6 games, lost 2 of them, and things haven't got any better. And the last time out, they were shellacked 5-1 by the United States. And the United States weren't at full strength, giving Marcelo Bielsa an excuse to call a press conference and drone on about his failings for a full 2 hours. Uruguay's next opponents, I think, are England at Wembley. And that's going to be very, very interesting, because if they get another shellacking, which is possible, you wonder if a change of coach will be inevitable. So there's a lot for Uruguay to play for in the March friendlies.
I, like you guys, wonder if the better defence will have the upper hand when it comes to the World Cup, simply at the end of a long European season, and well, in football globally, where players are playing so many games. But looking forward to the World Cup, Tim, I mentioned Endrick before, who be hoping to use this 6 months at Lyon to get himself into Ancelotti's plans for the World Cup. He's been completely overtaken in 2025 by another Palmeiras graduate, hasn't he?
I think we're having a little bit of trouble there with Tim there, which would be a shameful end to his contribution in 2025. I think you're referring there, Andy, to the emergence of Esteval.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been amazing this year. I suppose since Gabriel Jesus, of course, he's had so many injury problems in recent years, he was the one who really set the tone for players coming directly from Brazil to the Premier League and having an instant impact. I guess he was the first who really did that. But Esteval has been fantastic at big moments for Chelsea already, and will continue to be so. Of course, very different position players to Endrick, who's very much get your shot off, and that is his thing. But it'd be really interesting to see if Brazil have better defensive or more eye-catching offensive options by the time it gets to the World Cup, or whether Richarlison ends up scoring the goal of the tournament all over again, like he did in Qatar.
Well, he's certainly in decent form, offside decisions notwithstanding at the moment. But then he's one of those players, isn't he? He has 10 games where he's absolutely unstoppable, then 10 games when you wonder how he ever got into a professional football team, and vice versa.
Just before we let this go,
yes.
Danny, we have to say, Tim's not here for us to actually say it to him. What a contribution in 2025. He was just the best.
And what, I say, I don't think this show would be, and so we get so many lovely communications about how much people enjoy the show. Without him, his personal way of being, and his knowledge of South American football, I think we would be a three-legged dog. And that's, I know he only does 20 minutes, but what a 20 minutes is. We were, before we started down, we were going to ask him about the latter couple of seasons of the career of Edison Cavani. They were both the juniors in Argentina. Because Frank has announced his retirement from football. We'll talk about that in about 15 minutes' time here on Trans Europe Express. But next, we're going to be joined live from the AFCON in Morocco.
This all-new Nissan Interstar van is a game changer.
Yep, you get a 5-year warranty, load capacity's impressive, everything fits without playing tool Tetris.
You're right. No more twisting myself into a human pretzel just to grab the drill.
And up to 37.7 miles per gallon from the diesel version. I can take the team to away games.
Yeah, and you get up to 285 miles from the 100% electric all-new Nissan Interstar E.
Sam's got that. Uses it to park without waking the kids. Search Nissan Interstar and visit your local Nissan fan centre today. Warranty terms apply. 5 years or 100,000 miles, whichever comes first. Fuel consumption and EV range figures are for comparability purposes and may not reflect real driving results. Visit nissan.co.uk.
Get that Euro Millions feeling this Friday. 10 UK winners are guaranteed to be millionaires. That's 10 more reasons to celebrate. Not a bad way to start the new year. Euro Millions from the National Lottery. Play on app. Current terms, rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Yeah, what's this? A massive winter sale at Go Outdoors. Up to 50% off. With huge savings on more kit than ever. And top brands like Ram, Birdhouse, Mountain Equipment and Peter Stone. Belting! With your membership £5, T's and C's apply. Go Outdoors. Discover freedom!
Money Super 7, you've been saving people serious money, but they deserve even more. Can I count on you?
Always, boss. For a start, Money Supermarket give everyone a £15 reward just for switching their car insurance.
That's a very good start.
And that's on top of saving up to £508. And when they keep on saving with us, we'll give them more and more rewards.
See how much you could save with Money Supermarket. 51% could save up to £508. Consumer Intelligence, September 2025. Rewards include gift cards. Qualifying purchase with logged-in account. 18 plus UK only. See site for T's and C's.
With Betfred, when you bet £10, you get £50 in free bets. So, want to back your new striker to score the first goal? Your midfield maestro to get the assist? Want to say there'll be a header? Want to see their striker caught offside? Who was born offside? Want to predict the final score? Or both teams to score? Want to get involved for 90 minutes? Want to nick in extra time? Want to bet £10 and get £50 in free bets? Want to bet? Betfred. New online customers only. 5 £10 free bets. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Horsby and Jacobs on your side tomorrow afternoon from 1 on talkSPORT with Tool Station, delivering cutting-edge comments, a catalogue of riveting guests, and drilled-down dialogue to power up your lunchtime. Plus, breaking news, views, and loads of laughs. Don't miss the nation's favourite sporting lunch with the legendary Horsby and Jacobs. Tomorrow afternoon from 1 on talkSPORT with Tool Station. Next stop, Tool Station.
It's your traditional Tuesday night of post-Christmas football on the talkSPORT network. From 7:30 onwards, Burnley take on Newcastle, Forest face Everton, and West Ham versus Brighton. All on the talkSPORT app. It's the Tuesday night post-Christmas Premier League party on the talkSPORT network.
International football, myself and Andy Everett, just a casual observer, you'll know that the African Cup of Nations is in full swing finally in the wonderful country of Morocco with its half Atlantic, a bit of Mediterranean coastline. It's absolutely proximity to Europe, and of course in various times the two continents have been joined together across that stretch of Gibraltar, and so much more. It must be, we started, it's up and running, and I'm delighted to say that therefore talkSPORT in person, and joining us now is Tony Okoki. Hello, Tony.
Hi, how are you?
Really, really good. First of all, first question from me, if I may. Just give us a flavour of what it's like to be in Morocco for the tournament.
Well, as I said last time on your show, Morocco, the weather was absolutely terrible while I've been in Fez. It's slightly got a bit better. There hasn't been that much rain. So I know over the Christmas period there was actually some dry spells, but it's still quite a bit cold. I'm in Fez at the moment, and an hour away we actually had a white Christmas, even though they don't really celebrate Christmas over there. But it was snowing just an hour away from me. So yeah, Morocco. There's been so many different types of weather I've seen in this small time in AFCON so far. But it's been a brilliant tournament, and I've enjoyed the vibrancy of the country so far.
Tony, you need a monster game for the tournament to really take off. We got that yesterday with Nigeria and Tunisia, didn't we? With the big guns notably firing for Nigeria.
Yeah, 100%. I was at that game in Fez yesterday, and being on Nigeria in the set is probably one of the best 60-odd minutes I've seen Nigeria ever play in person. I spoke to the manager, Eric Shell, after, and he said it's one of the best 75 minutes he's seen any of his teams play. And what a game it was. You had Adam Oyelowo firing, Osimhen scoring, Nigeria looking really good against a good Tunisia side who dealt with Uganda in their first game. But then Tunisia got one back, and then there was the VAR controversy. The game had everything. For the neutrals, it must be great. For me, I was watching the Nigeria fan, it was fun time towards the end.
One of the things I've always loved over the years, Tony, about AFCON is its unpredictability. Smaller teams cause upsets, the big teams often stumble and wobble their way through the tournament, or just as likely out the tournament. So far as my inexpert eye can see, all the favourites are making reasonably serene progress.
Yeah, this is honestly one of the first AFCONs I've watched where the big teams are actually doing their job. And it's funny now because everyone thinks, like, you know what, as tournaments go, big teams get in, and the whole thing about the AFCON is that it never goes through. If people remember, Ivory Coast, who hosted it last year, lost their second game to Equatorial Guinea 4-1 and only got through with a minus goal difference and ended up winning the tournament. And this was by knocking out Senegal as well. And right now, all the big guns have done really well. Nigeria already through, Algeria already through, Egypt looked good. So it's looking like, you know what, in the round of 16 so far, there might be some really big teams up there and no massive upsets just yet. But we're going to the last match day of the group stages, so let me not talk too tough, but right now it's going well.
And Tony, we had a special visitor today to Ivory Coast, Cameroon, one of the big clashes in this first round. Kylian Mbappe, of course, could have ended up playing for one of those teams if he'd have wanted to.
Yeah, 100%. Kylian Mbappe was at that game since his father's of Cameroonian descent, and it was nice to see. He was also joined by Aurelien Tchouameni and Barcelona's Jules Koundé was there as well. It was nice to see some people watching the AFCON, and you've seen a lot of people actually. A lot of the French team watched AFCON as well. For those that don't know, Lucas Zidane is the Algerian keeper who's the son of Zinedine Zidane, and he's been watching his son in the Algeria games as a proud father. So you can see a lot of the big profile names in football coming to watch the AFCON, which has been really good.
Among the results that have happened, Sudan won a game. Tony, explain the importance of that victory.
Yeah, it was really important. Sudan beat Equatorial Guinea today just by the one goal. It was an own goal, but what an important victory for Sudan. Not only that, they have won the AFCON back in the 70s, but for those that don't know, Sudan have been in civil war since 2023, and the fact that a country that can go through civil war at the moment with stadiums being destroyed and be repurposed, and their domestic leagues having to play in Rwanda and countries elsewhere, the fact that they got a win today just shows some resilience and just shows that despite what's going on with the country, people can come together and still celebrate and still have something to celebrate. So a very big win for Sudan today and for the people of Sudan.
And a team that look like they'll be on the way home, though, Gabon, after their latest defeat, they've lost their first two now, Tony. And let's be honest, Galatasaray and Marseille are going to be very happy to be reunited in double quick time with Mario Lemina and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Yeah, 100%. Gabon was a weird one. I thought Gabon would be one of the teams that, even though you don't expect them to be one of the favourites, they'll be one of the dark horses, especially with Lassa Mario Lemina. I remember watching Nigeria, Gabon take Nigeria to extra time in the recent World Cup playoff before they got knocked out of DR Congo. But Gabon have just been really, really bad. And it was weird. In one of the first games, the manager made a substitution 20 minutes into the game, bringing on Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Mario Lemina, which you're thinking, I guess we did know that Aubameyang was injured. We didn't expect him to play, so I guess that. But Mario Lemina as well. So this is it. Credit to Galatasaray, Marseille will probably be thanking the Lord, thinking, you know what, that these guys are going to come back quite early.
Tony, give us the lowdown on what we should be looking out for in the next few days. Many of us still in Europe getting through the festivities, and with a few hours to spare to watch football on the TV. What are the games you're looking forward to in the next few days?
I'm looking forward to Zambia to Morocco tomorrow as well, just because Zambia, even though that they feel like one of the lesser teams of AFCON, this is a team that have won the AFCON before, back in 2012, which was one of the biggest surprises of the tournament. However, they haven't seemed to win, they haven't won a game since that 2012 win. So even though they've got the host Morocco tomorrow, they're a side that is still resilient, that you just can't walk over. So Zambia-Morocco is a good game I'm going to be watching for. Obviously, the Leicester, Passadaka, will be playing for Zambia, looking to get on the score sheet. Also, Zimbabwe versus South Africa as well. That's what I'm looking forward to. Zimbabwe hasn't had the greatest of tournaments, and even though South Africa felt like they got wronged by that Egypt result as well, just going into Group B, I feel like those are the two games I'll be looking forward to tomorrow, and seeing where the tables lie and who's going through. And you know, when you start to look at the tournaments and okay, if this team finishes third, because for those that don't know, the AFCON got to 24 teams over the past couple of years, so now the third place team goes through as well, which never used to happen. So this will be interesting, these last few games. You're going to be looking at all the permutations coming very soon.
And Tony, listen, we'll be back to you for more next Sunday, no doubt. Remember, never leave without your sun hat and your umbrella, apparently. Morocco this time of year. It's been great hearing from you firsthand from the AFCON. Tony Afoki there, everybody. More from Tony next week. Next, we'll be turning our attention to left. Edison Cavani. At various times, a great player over the last 2 decades, has announced his retirement.
Join Midnight Casino and discover a whole new world! With hot slots, jackpots, live casino roulette, and blackjack at the ready. Come and play your way. Get 100 free spins when you spend £20 on eligible games. Search Midnight Casino or download the Midnight app today. Midnight. Casino done better. You decide. New customers only. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Nothing beats that just good feeling. Because when you take a jet to your holiday, you start dreaming of pool days and seeing the sights. Get ahead for summer with just a £25 deposit per person for a limited time only. Choose from best rooms and hotels and save £200 per couple. Nothing beats a jet to holiday. Package holidays you can trust. After National Protected. £25 deposit available from 19th December to 12th January, subject to availability and conditions.
Love that feeling when a game just clicks? At Virgin Bet, you'll find all your favourites in one place. Classic casino games and hundreds of the most exciting slots. And it's the good bet you'll love our new member welcome offer. Just join, wager at least £10 on slots within 7 days of signing up and get 100 free spins to get you started. Virgin Bet, a good bet. Use free spins on selected games in 7 days. Value varies. Terms and exclusions apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. GambleAware.org.
Merry Christmas, my love. Merry Christmas, Mom. Merry Christmas, Daddy.
Happy New Year! From the UK's first mobile phone call to the first text, we've been connecting you at Christmas since 1984 on Vodafone, the nation's network. The Nation's Network, Vodafone UK, supporting the nation since 1984. Learn more at vodafone.co.uk/TNN.
Ready to switch your play? LiveScore Vegas is your go-to destination. Explore a huge selection of top-tier slots and live casino games. And for new players, there's a special welcome. Play £10 on slots and unlock 100 free spins on King Kong Cash. Even bigger bananas, Jackpot King. Step straight into the action and search LiveScore Vegas today. New customers only. Wager in 7 days of sign-up. 10 pence spin value. Valid 3 days. T&Cs and deposit exclusions apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. GambleAware.org.
Jeff Stelling here. More live football continues with a Tuesday night crammed full of live Premier League football on the talkSPORT network. What a move! 6 huge games kicking off at 7:30 with Chelsea versus Bournemouth live on Talk Radio. Absolutely sensational. With Burnley versus
down the white cliffs of Dover.
Trans Euro Express. 26k for 2026 on talkSPORT.
Obviously, there's something that comes off that, yes. Yeah, talkSPORT giving you the chance to win £26,000 in 2026. Head to talksport.com/win to find out how to enter. So Andy, a little bit out of the blue today, although he is 38 years of age, Edinson Cavani, who's had, I think, a brilliant career in football, both at club level and internationally. These days was making his living in Argentina with the great club Boca Juniors. But Edinson Cavani's announced his retirement, and I think it would be wrong, Trans Europe Express, to allow that event to go unmarked, because, as I say, in a career that's taken him variously to Napoli, Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester United, Valencia, Boca more recently, and without ever being acknowledged as one of the glitzy or glamorous superstars of the game, any team with Edinson Cavani in it was a better team.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And I think what was clear, just what you could grasp from watching one match of his, is actually what he was all about, because he gave everything to every game. The star player with no ego who could do it all, really. A player who sacrificed a lot of what might have been his desires to be the star of the team in various places, particularly at Paris Saint-Germain, to give everything for that team, to cover every blade of grass. I think we think of mainly that part of his career from 2017, where he was already well established at Paris Saint-Germain, really well established in the hearts of the fans, as well as one of the best strikers in European football. But he was always the one that had to give after the arrivals of Neymar and Kylian Mbappe. Just as he had when Ibrahimovic arrived, playing out on the wing. You know, the guy who was born to be the centre forward, the superstar, that actually had the humility to take a back seat for everyone else, to stop taking the penalties, all those other things that he had to endure. He did it with dignity, he did it with a stiff upper lip, and he did it while still producing for the teams under different eras of PSG. Of course, his story in European football doesn't start there, but I think really when you look at his numbers, whilst undeniably impressive, they could have undoubtedly been better had he not run so much. If he was just one of those guys who stayed in the box and accepted the chances, he was as good as finished.